Welcome, one and all, to the quarterfinals of Blue Otter Platinum League. Tonight, we're going to have IG Imperial Gaming going up against Monkey Champagne. For game one, IG is going to be on the blue side, Monkey Champagne going to be on the red side. I am Chung Somo, and I'm joined by Dean tonight. Dean, how we doing?
I am doing well. Thank you very much for having me. This is going to be my first time watching either of these two teams play. I'm very excited getting to be here to join the cast for Blue Otter Platinum. Um, Now, this is a league that I think a lot of people have been very hyped about. I've been seeing a lot of storylines about for this entire split. Very exciting that it's coming to a very exciting conclusion. And I was talking to you a little bit before the cast here. We were talking kind of about the expectations for this series. And as a bit of a platinum expert yourself, what was kind of some of the big key points here before we get into the full pick and ban here?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest point I take away from this is that the probably debatably best mid in Platinum, the all-star mid laner for IG, Azure X Fire, is not playing in the series. He hasn't played the last 2 weeks of the regular season. Not playing this week. I believe he's on a Cancun vacation or something like that. So their normal top laner, Noble Bark, is playing mid lane, and I believe they have Indigo playing in the top lane, which I think really hinders IG's level that they were at. Like at a time, they were like the second best, third best team in Platinum, and I think they've just fallen down a cliff since then. I mean, we were going to have Auto Talk or Talk Show before this. Everyone, except for me, thinks IG is going to win the series over Monkey Champagne. But I think Monkey Champagne is going to be able to, win this one out. But let's just jump into this pick and ban. We see a lot of strong bans here. Amumu's still a super strong champion. Hui, really strong. Nocturne, great into the right team comp. Caitlyn, I think, is one of the best 80 carries on the patch. But IG going with the power pick until I'm not sure how big the nerfs have actually affected him. They went with the Corki. So I don't know if you have seen anything with the patch notes or anything like that. Dean, what are your thoughts on Corki first pick?
I think Corki B1 is a very flexible pick. It does kind of telegraph that it is looking for an AD mid laner, but it still can go into that bottom lane position. They are going to be picking the Ziggs up on their B2-3, so they are going to be most likely sending the Corki mid, which I think gives them a lot of range to play with, and still gives them a lot of flexibility in their jungle and the rest of their team comp, what they can build up. Meanwhile, the first R1-2 here for Monkey Champagne, Ash Jarvan. I'm a very big fan of those two as a 1-2. I think that Jarvan is a very strong engage option that does very well into a lot of the standard bot lane picks. And Ashe right now is just one of the premier AD carries. Still, just the amount of utility that you get from her with her slows and everything, really only rivaled in lane by a pick like the Seraphine that is able to match her range and match her utility. So far, this pick ban is shaping up very flexible for both sides not revealing their full intended playstyle based off of just these round one picks. um I think I slightly favor IG based on the 1-2-3, but it does depend on 4-5 to round it out.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Jarvan is my biggest question mark right now. I play up in the Emerald League, and this champion's
Hmm.
priority has fallen off a cliff.
Hmm.
Nobody's really playing him, picking him up there, but it's Jarvan. He's gonna do the same thing every game. I said this last week. He still has the buttons. He has E, he has Q, he has Flash. All he
Yep.
needs to be an effective champion. But the range that IG is gonna get to play at this game, they have a Ziggs, Quirky, Seraphine. That's an insane amount of range already. So it could be hard playing not only this Jarvan into that comp, but also this Leona. But Leona Ashe is one of the oldest bot lane pairings in the book, right? Leona hits
Hmm.
any form of CC, Ashe Arrow comes in, vice versa. Ashe Arrow hits, Leona follows up with Solar Flare into Zenith Blade, and then Dawnbreak Shield, whatever it's called. But
Hmm.
the CC that Lidmon has already drafted is already insane with the Ashe Leona bot lane. And if this is a quirky bot, they're not taking cleanse. They take TP to be able to always have the wave priority, the wave shove. But this is a situation where you could, think about picking up the TP, dropping TP in this game and going for the cleanse, which is definitely interesting. But I want to talk about phase two bans here more than anything because Yorick and Alawi are banned away by IG. And these are two of the spicy picks I wanted to see out of the top laner for Monk Champagne, a Steel fan. He busts out these champions every once in a while. They're really strong on R5, but they're not going to give him that option. So he's just going to have to default back to Orin. And Litmon is so far drafting himself a super strong engage comp that can, get a pick on anyone in the mid lane with the amount of CC they have, or just run over a team fight if they're stacking stuff correctly.
Right.
The biggest issue that they're going to have is playing into a Seraphine ult because that thing can deter a lot of the forward momentum they want to get. And then, Mordekaiser kind of pick into Orin. Orin casts R1, gets put in the Death Realm, can't R2. So that's the play IG is going to be looking for. Curious if they're going to be able to execute on this harder to play draft with it being so poke heavy instead of so just straight up front to back team fight that Litmon has.
And I think that that's where Litmon's comp does kind of struggle maybe a little bit, like you're saying, with the interactions with the champion specific, but also just like the fact that they get outpoked without being incredibly high damage. That's one of Ash's big things, is that she isn't a champion that does these insane DPS like throughout the entire point of the game. She does respectable damage, but she's not exactly a late game hyper carry. The Jarvan has decent early game damage, but he's mostly just there to be set up. So unless they can really get a snowball rolling early, they're not going to be looking to fight throughout basically the entire early game. And the Veigar just kind of reinforces that point. So they are definitely kind of leaning more towards that late game where they can have their items and can potentially look to front to back. But at that point, going into IG's team comp, I really don't know if they'll be able to get those picks into the Seraphine, into the Zwani, into the Mordekaiser. And I think IG should be able to run the map a little bit more with this Ziggs, with this Corki, that are both very good at sieging towers. That's kind of how this game is looking to me, is that Litmon wants to just hard press forward, and IG just wants to hard kite back and then just outplay him on the map.
Yeah, I mean, it's just going to come down to execution from both teams. Like in even higher leagues than Emerald, like Diamond, Masters, Professional League, there's identity to team comps. You have poke, you have dive, split push, hard engage. The thing that beats hard engage is poke, because they're just going to whittle you down before you're able to ever get that hard engage. But if you get the right angles, the poke comp can't do anything into it. So it's really just like an ebb and flow of how this one is going to play out. And it definitely makes for an interesting game one. Considering we're in Fearless, these picks aren't available in match two. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see who can get the upper hand with these early picks. Maybe there are some takeaways by each team here, but if everything goes how it's supposed to, I'm going to favor Monkey Champagne in this first game myself.
Yeah, I think that just based off of without huge knowledge of nameplates, I do favor, like, assuming equal execution, I think IG's comp is just a little bit better personally. I definitely see the point you're coming from, though, with the idea of you just find that one angle. That's all you need, especially with a team fight comp like this. It doesn't matter when you find it. As long as you can find your angle, you can make magic happen. And they do have like these incredible picks, like these incredible tools for those picks, even coming down to like the Veigar to set things up. So if this Jarvan is allowed to like get stuff rolling early, especially, then I do think that it'll be difficult for IG with a lot of their squishier members to have some of that same utility, have some of that same threatening poke. Yeah, it's just going to come down to, like you were saying, execution, and then who can layer their team fighting abilities better when we get to that 5v5.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's all about the layering CC if you're Monkey Champagne. And the biggest thing about this engage comp that they've drafted is it has multiple go buttons and also just more range instead of like your typical engage team comp. It's not a Nautilus flying in. Leona has like somewhat free engage with the solar flare being a ranged ultimate instead of just a full commitment like a Nautilus hook or something like that. So it can let them, fish a little bit easier instead of having to just go all in and not be able to get anything out of it. So it's still going to be hard regardless of how they play it. I'm just curious to see where the pressure comes in. And I don't think they're going to be doing it this game, but I think this is an actually very good game if Monkey Champagne has practiced it to pull off a lane swap. Because Ashe is going to do nothing in the bot lane against a Zig Seraphine. She's just going to be pushed out and pushed under turret. Orin already loses to Mordekaiser. So if they're practiced on it and they can actually execute it, a lane swap here is so good for Monkey Champagne. But I do not think it's going to be coming out. But, it's something that if teams are practiced on, it can catch you slipping.
Right. And that's definitely, like, Orin is one of those champions that you are going to be looking to pick if you are in, like, one of those higher concept lane swap type of compositions. And then like the Ashe Leona as well, I do think does have the ability to like put Ashe in the side lane, and then Leona can kind of hover between either mid lane, bot lane to help the Orin survive a potential dive. Even just like go crazy and just have her be like a tag team with the Jarvan, and then just pick one person, they will die. You have 19 layers of CC across the entire map. IG, my only concern with that is that if IG aren't the one to initiate that, then Ziggs just starts getting all these plays for free, and then you're giving up a very early first tower to the Ziggs. which is not something that you want to do at all. That champion can become an absolute menace if he's allowed to start snowballing some of these towers and turning those into other objectives. The Sejuani as well is another champion that does kind of want to play well into like that side of the dive or that side of a lane swap.
Yeah, I mean, it's always scary to go against like such a turret-taking menace like a Ziggs, especially the later into the game he gets, the more free gold he can get just with that. So it's definitely risky. I don't expect to see it just because like it's platinum. Not a lot of people even practice this anymore in Emerald, or
Right.
like it's like something you see in like Masters Diamond Plus. But you know, it's always an option that teams got to be thinking of. It's definitely an interesting matchup that we have here for this first game. But you know, I'm curious to see what's going to happen on the Rift, and we'll be able to see that once we get back from this break. Hope you guys stick around.
Alrighty, we are here, loading back into game here. Game number 1 between IG and the Champagne Monkeys. We've got the blue side, once again, Mordekaiser, Sejuani, Corki, Ziggs, and Seraphine all off the table. Meanwhile, here for the red side, we have Ornn, Jarvan IV, Veigar, Ashe, and Leona. Looking like red side here going to do just a standard 5-point, nothing too suspicious, nothing too fancy. And blue side potentially going to be looking for a 5-man stack here on this bot brush. Could potentially look to walk up, potentially just looking to reset after they ensure safety.
Yeah, I'm really confused at why we're having a 5-stack here for IG because the level 1 from Champagne is not strong. Like, Ashe is strong at level 1. She can chase you down with the volley and her passive, but, like, it's a Veigar, a J4, and a Leona. Like, there's really nothing else besides this Ashe. So you're not going to gain anything from 5-stacking because they're not going to invade you. But, I mean, you also don't lose anything because they weren't invading on the top side or pushing forward for vision. We see Seal Fan sitting in the top bush. Canary just sitting by his Raptors, and they get an early Raptor ward here. Nightmare getting that one down, so they will see when Warwick main the Sejuani gets on those. But it's definitely a curious choice, that one, because nothing was going to happen regardless.
Yeah, definitely did not feel like it was going to be a super high stakes invade there, or potentially even invade situation. I do like just the extra safety, just securing the fact that they know that they're going to be safe. I don't hate the call. I think that it's a decent decision if you know that you can get back to your standard lane assignments all good and scot-free. Speaking of standard lane assignments, like we were talking about in the draft, we were talking about there potentially being a lane swap. That is not happening. We are in standard lanes. We have the matchups that we can expect. Mordekaiser versus Ornn, and this bot lane here. Ziggs, Seraphine, surprisingly not getting just the immediate shove against Ashe Leona, although this top lane is starting to go into the Ornn here.
Yeah, I mean, we expect Ornn to, win this matchup early. It is the counter, and Mordekaiser the counter into Ornn. He's just going to bully him. Steel Fan, just has to do his job, collect CS, and all in all, not going to be down too much CS if you can pick up most of this wave under turret, but looking for a trade right now and letting some of that CS fall. But, yeah, I'm really curious why this Ziggs Seraphine bot lane isn't getting the push, because Leona can't do anything in this lane. She's just a standing ward at this point. But
right.
One thing I want to hit on here is Nightmare chose to go first strike in this lane against Corki. I think that's a terrible choice. Oh, wait,
and one thing I do want to hit
on,
on, though, real quick, we do have this Ornn here going and getting the first blood against the Mordekaiser, just absolutely saying that you are not respecting my position. You are illegal standing up here. We are going to take that free kill. Steel Fan looking really good, and meanwhile, the Leona jumping in, seeing the angle onto the Seraphine. Jarvan coming down. This Leona is all by himself. Jarvan does come in. The Seraphine gets knocked up, taken down by the volley. That is 2 quick kills picked up on the map for the side of the Champagne Monkeys.
What just happened? Steel Fan getting the solo bolo at level 3 in the top lane, and then immediately into a play by bot lane. Pink Penguin flashing forward, igniting. Camry flashing forward to hit the EQ afterwards onto the Seraphine, who doesn't even burn heal or flash.
Another scuffle coming out here at the top lane is just going to be a quick little poke, but we do have this big wave stacking against the Mordekaiser. Steel Fan in a really good spot for themselves right now.
Yeah, everything's already going sideways for the side of IG. I mean, this is not where you want to be finding yourself with this comp that you drafted, because if you fall behind on a poke comp, you are not going to be able to shred through this Ornn once late game comes. And then the hard engage just becomes even harder to deal with with this team. But yeah, crazy start to this game already. Champagne are going to find themselves already up 1K, and Steel Fan just put in the work on Indigo in this top lane. Wow,
Yeah, we were talking about how this was a counter pick matchup and a good matchup for the Mordekaiser, which it is. But a lot of what we were talking about comes later on in the game, post 6, when these teams or when these characters start grouping with their teams in order to fight around objectives or fight for position, whatever. In lane, it's proving to be the opposite, at least in this game. We're seeing just a very strong played Ornn here, which, we talk about the joke of everyone's favorite mage, druid, sorcerer, tank, barbarian, support, everything, Ornn. He's kind of being all of that, and be curious to see how he plays a potential gank situation. Sejuani deciding it's not worth their time. Running back down, leaving Indigo to his own devices top.
Yeah, I mean, Steel Fan is playing this wonderfully. Got that ward in early, saw Warwick, the Sejuani coming up in the top lane, and, not letting him get anything out of it. But, just to back to my original point of the first strike on Vygar, it's really hard to proc it early just because Corky starts with that Gatling gun and just gonna pop it immediately, and hopefully, he can find the pressure with it in the late game to burst somebody. I would have liked to see an arcane comment or even an airy this game. But the other one that's very interesting is Steelfan went with the grasp in this matchup. I've seen Orange go phase rush in this one because you just trade in with your Q, you W, you E, and then you just run away from the Mordekaiser because he's going to be rushing a Rylai's, so it's going to be hard to even get away from him. But Steel Fan not wanting to get away from him right now, wanting to go in on him.
Yep, speaking of that kind of engage there, we do have Steel Fan. He does have no mana. Indigo has him in the Death Realm, is starting to pressure him a little bit now that they're out of Brazil. It is going to be Steel Fan running away, forced to use the last of his mana to dash out, to reset here. The cost of that topside engage is going to be the dragon picked up for the side of the monkeys, but Camry is just getting shot down by this Corki. Unfortunately, not able to pick up anything there, but will be able to clear a little bit more of their jungle. Overall, we maintain a neutral state, but the first dragon of the game is picked up by the side of the Champagne Monkeys.
Yeah, I just watched Cameron EQ 1 inch in front of himself and somehow still managed to live there. Kind of crazy to see that one happen. But
just point blank, we don't got any range on him. It's fine.
that was something. But he still gets out. He still lives here. Corky, he's not gonna do a super high amount of damage early. He's known to be like the scaling pick alongside of Vygar, but Corky does the recent buff that happened to him is they increased his true damage on his passive. He does I believe it's 30% true damage with his auto attacks now, or something ridiculous like that.
Mm-hmm. And that's that is definitely a significant buff. But unfortunately, he went Tier and Doran's Shield, so that is significant. But I don't think he's going to be getting the most damage out of Tier Doran's Shield for it.
Yeah, I mean, I think he only went Doran's Shield because he thought he was going to get poked by Nightmare, but ended up outpoking him in the early game with the Fleet Footwork and the passive of Doran's Shield. But he's going to do the Mana into IE build. It's the more scaling one instead of going Collector into more offensive items. But you have to have an answer for this Vygar scaling in the late game, and it looks like you're gonna have that be Corky. But I still think if Nightmare hits late game on Vygar, he's just gonna one-shot people, and it doesn't matter how much you scaled if you're just getting one-shot by an outplay button from the Vygar. But right. Grub started up here, Camry just gonna get to take this one for free. Penguin already rotated up. You got Barolo trying to play safe in the bot lane, but has to flash away from that one. A really good route by Hunter on that one, forcing the flash, not the cleanse. So invested a 5-minute cooldown instead of a 2-minute one. It probably was the correct call there to make sure he actually lives in this play.
Yep, definitely don't want to get yourself chunked out. The Ziggs Seraphine, we were talking about earlier, they do have a lot of burst damage here.
Dead.
And that Ashe is going to end up getting poked out by that Seraphine. Is able to somehow pick up a return kill there. Seraphine not quite able to drop the aggro and does not want to spend the heal on it. So it is a kill picked back up, but that's still a lot of farm going to be denied in the long run. So it is still overall pretty decent for the Ziggs here. They do get those 3 Void Grubs from earlier, so they're not in a completely doomed spot. But it's just a little bit awkward for them losing that Ashe down there in the 2v1.
Yeah, I mean, off camera before we load up into this game, I said, why is Seraphine going heal here? And the answer is not to save themselves, because they've died twice now and haven't used it once. So if you're not going to use the button, why even take the button in the first place? But,
exactly.
they did pick up the kill. Asher flying upriver.
Speaking of using the buttons there, we do have the Jarvan trying to press both of his to go in. Gets hit by the big Seraphine and Sejuani buttons. Camry does go down here. Nightmare left in a 1v3. Veigar forced to flash out. Quick kill picked back up on the side of IG. Very well played by this Seraphine roaming up here. And very well played by the Sejuani, able to lock down that kill for IG.
Yeah, Barolo threw up the Ashe Arrow trying to hit it onto the Sejuani there, but it missed, and Camry just overcommitted there. I think once that misses, you should just back out because they have they have higher damage at this point just because of the way Corky works in the early game with the Gatling gun, shredding resistances, and the CC chain from a Sejuani is a real threat. So I think it's a little bit overplayed in the hand by Champagne there, trying to continue to force that play after, but Bark could be in a little bit of danger there, has the flash. Really well played by Nightmare on that baby cage.
Nightmare's just doing a very good job of keeping pressure in this lane by all accounts. Nightmare does have the does have the TP and does have like the ability to come back onto the map. So trying to force any of these resources before that dragon spawns in 30 seconds, just trying to get themselves into the best possible situation to continue their late game scaling. While the rest of the map is just doing a decent job of staying stable, Nightmare is proving to be a pretty strong point on the map.
The solar flare come out from Penguin with no follow-up. Okay.
We're just going to click the solar flare button, just scare him a little bit, and then just going to back off. Honestly, I respect it. Sometimes you just got to throw the button out there and see if they can react. Maybe trying to burn a flash, maybe see if you can't get them to invest something. But Hunter and Chef are not going to take any bait there. Instead, we will just see the monkeys taking the Ocean Dragon here.
Yeah, I think that's a really bad decision by Pink Penguin there, wasting the solar flare like that, because now the side of IG can walk in and start the pressure here, even without the ultimates. They just have the poke damage, and this is what we're talking about. In the after,
two teleports coming down. Both teleports coming down from the top laners. Meanwhile, this is Wani just going in. The Ornn ultimate is not going to go through. That is the Death Realm. Camry in by themselves. Meanwhile, all other members are low. That is Barolo getting poked out here, going down. Steelfan by himself in a 1v5. Steelfan having to run away here. Veigar having to run. It is a three men left alive, 2 down. And IG now in a really good situation here. They pick up the Ocean Dragon, and they're going to get the shove on the mid wave here, looking to potentially turn that into more on the map.
Yeah, and I think that play just starts because Pink Penguin wasted the solar flare in the bottom lane. There was no follow-up threat after that goes in. So IG just gets to walk back forward with their ultimates coming off cooldown after that mid lane play. And we saw the counterplay there. Indigo and Steelfan both TP'd in. Steelfan popped the Ornn Horn and immediately got sent to Brazil and was not able to get a big knockup. So
yep, I was immediately going to point that out as well. We were talking about how the early lane wasn't going the best for Indigo, but immediately finding value to save his team on that TP, just sending the Ornn to the Death Realm, does a good job of making the play absolutely go in favor of IG. Now both teams trying to find some sort of situation here that can favor them on the map. Grubs are spawned, but neither jungler currently looking towards them.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just not a fan of the last couple of minutes of play here by Champagne. They're just not respecting anything, wasting abilities, ultimates when they shouldn't be. And also, Barolo is kind of just being left out to dry in this bottom lane. Like, we saw it before the Dragon play even started, getting chunked out by Chef J on the Ziggs. And the wave just in a super unfavorable spot. And it just trickled into a really bad Dragon play by them, over-forcing a little bit even. You see Camry, he dove into the back line by himself, but they're going to try to force these 6 grubs, but IG's already here to respond.
Right. And that's one of those things. Ooh, big baby cage coming up there. The Solar Flare is going to get the stun locked up onto the Warwick man, onto the Sejuani. The Seraphino not able to come down here. Ornn having to run away from the Mordekaiser.
Big Ash Arrow
from downtown. Big pickup here. Steelfan is going to help knock that one down. Nightmare picks up the kill onto the Mordekaiser. And these 6 grubs that were once a force are now free. Ash picking up plates in the bottom lane. This play suddenly turned all the way around for Champagne as they now sit with 6 Void grubs and multiple pushing lanes on the map.
Hey, I mean, 3rd time's the charm. Barolo misses the first 2 Ash arrows and hits a huge one onto Indigo up in that top lane. And the most important thing about that play isn't the 6 grubs. It's Nightmare. Got both of those kills. This man is going to be the late game carry. And he picked up both of them. Also, the key fact, picked up both of them with an ability, not an auto attack. So even more stacks on that passive, building up that AP over time. And Barolo just gets to sit bot this whole time, picks up 3 plates for himself. This is, I said I wasn't a fan of how Champagne was playing. Apparently they heard me. They got comms in here or something and immediately cleaned it up and turned it around. Nightmare getting on the board fast and early, and that's what you want to see when you pick a scaling champ like a Veigar.
And that's one of those things too, like we were talking about how Ash with the Leona kind of left out to dry. If the Leona is able to roam and make plays like that happen, suddenly leaving Ash out to dry has value because you're able to accelerate other members of your team. You're able to accelerate different parts of the map. And now this Veigar is becoming not just a late game damage threat, they're becoming a mid game damage threat. And this comp that can make a pick happen and can always have that way to slingshot themselves a lot of gold is suddenly slingshotting from an even game state. You know, barely 500 gold is the lead. And right now, they're just looking in a very, very good spot here. No towers taken down yet. I feel like it's a dam about to burst. As soon as one team gets 1 tower, it's just going to be a massive influx of gold.
Yeah, I mean, also a big thing that came out of that grub play was Indigo dying, because after that dragon fight, Steelfan I think had like 64 CS, while Indigo was at like 80 to 90 CS. He had like a 30 CS lead, and now they're back to even again. So Steelfan able to pick up a bunch of farm after that play, and is back in this game. Hasn't died yet. Gonna build the MR Sunfire. Always forget the name of that item.
The magical Sunfire,
Yeah,
Moonfire,
which
whatever.
it makes sense because Sejuani innately deals magic damage. You got the Ziggs Seraphine and the
Mordekaiser as
Mordekaiser.
well. Yeah.
Only person who's going to be dealing AD damage to you is the Corki, and it seems we have a spectator bug, which is lovely to deal with. But
It's okay.
while we have
We've
it,
been
we can
preparing
yap
for this
for a bit.
situation. We're gonna be able to just kind of assume what's gonna be happening. We have the dragon spawning in less than a minute now, probably less than 15, 30 seconds at this point. Um, Either team that is able to get this third dragon will be able to pick up 3 infernal drakes for a potential soul. So definitely something that both teams could get a lot of value out of. I'm more curious to see what's going on with this Rift Herald. If that Rift Herald is truly just going to go the way of IG, if Champagne Monkeys are willing to just sacrifice that and let that go on. Because if that is something that they do want to contest, if that is something they do want to play for, then that could be very, very big for them. Rift Herald, with the 6 grubs, becomes an absolute siege force and siege threat. So that could potentially be something to look at. Otherwise, Barolo and Chef J, both of them currently sitting alone in the spot lane. Both of them trying to siege. Ash currently having the slight advantage over the Ziggs. More damage taken on that tower, ever so slight farm lead, and then pretty much even in itemization. Is that something that we could have expected between not only these two champions, but even these two players?
I think these two champions, it's definitely not the way it should be going. Zig should have just been staying in bot lane the whole time and just making sure Ash can never touch a wave, just with the Q bounce and everything like that. But it's more credit onto Barolo just staying bot lane when his team was going for the second grubs and was able to just force his way back into this game. Was like a little starved out for a bit, but like you were saying, the Rift Herald is being taken by IG currently. Once we get past this pause, but it looks like Champagne will just give it up. Camry is already on his Gromp, and you see Ping Penguin and Nightmare hovering towards the bot side with Steelfan on a recall. So they're just going to give this one up and go for the Dragon Stack, which I actually prefer that, just because both teams are scaling. So if you have the Uber buff at the end of the game, you're more likely to win. So
Right.
picking up the more dragons for yourself is good, and also you have the bot lane turret, which is already so low that you can just play for that and then go for the dragon, look to dive the Ziggs, who has no support with him. But
Mm-hmm.
another interesting thing to note is that Seraphine chose to go Imperial Mandate for this first item. I do not like that. I
No, not at
would
all.
preferred like Moonstone or any other support item in the world, because you're not paired with a AD carry. You're paired with a Ziggs. They're not going to be getting much effect out of that mandate passive. Like Moonstone, first item here would have been so good, because then it just kind of mitigates and negates what Champagne wants to do with a comp like this, and just
Yep.
hard engage all the time. If you just have a Moonstone Seraphine just spamming powered W's, like they can't do anything against you guys. So I think
Mm-hmm.
it's a bad support item choice out of their support here, and maybe in the late game it could cost them with just a little bit more shielding and healing power if you want that Moonstone.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree that the mandate was less than ideal here. Mandate would have been significantly better if this was, some kind of AD carry, some kind of marksman that she was being paired with. Maybe the thought process is that Corki is able to proc it a little bit more come mid late game, but I don't think that value you get is remotely better than the kind of value that you would get from having from having a traditional marksman paired next to you, or having even a Moonstone as your item of support. Um, so yeah, I guess go ahead, sir. You have anything else you would like to add on that?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely anyone's game still at this point. It's definitely going to be interesting to see what happens for the next few minutes of play, but hopefully we'll be able to figure out how to show you guys that few minutes of play. We're going to go to a quick pause here while we try to figure out these technical issues. So just stick around and we'll be back in a few moments.
Alrighty, folks. Looks like we are back at last here. We do have an update for you guys. Looks like game number one did come to a conclusion. It was the Champagne Monkeys getting the win in 18 kills to 12. And it looks like, just kind of based off of what we can tell from the game, it was about a 10k gold lead. Um, Overall, dragon stacking, like we were kind of talking about a little bit before we had to cut away to break, was the important thing. Did go all the way to 5, all the way to that Elder fight. Took 2 Barons for them to win, but they did ultimately end up finding enough of an advantage to get their win. Also notably, though, neither mid laner died at all.
Yeah.
So definitely a strong point for IG going into the next game. Noble Bark having a pretty solid game on the Corki, just unfortunately did not seem to be enough.
Yeah, Nightmare, he got those 2 early kills and just really snowballed the game from that point and just hard carried. Top charts and damage, did about 34,000 damage. But it makes sense that 2 Barons were need to be taken this game by the sides of Monkey Champagne. The wave clear on the side of IG in that first draft was just insane. Ziggs, Corki, Seraphine, even the Mordekaiser just deal really well into minions. So I'm not surprised to see 2 Barons taking that series. Big thing, Hunter never did go that Moonstone, so kind of upset to see that one. Decided to go for Redemption as the second item. Definitely an interesting choice there. You're already doing so much healing, so I think the Redemption is just kind of mute point there. But Barolo ended up going an old school blue build, Blade of the Rune King, Phantom Dancer, Static Shiv, put in the Wit's End there, Mercury Treads, just blew across the board, and did his job as the Ash, a 4-2-10 score line, probably hucking ults left and right, hitting all of them that need to be hit, and, just probably spacing very well in that team fight. Steel Fan
Right.
also put up an impressive score line, 4-11. I guess the Mordekaiser's counter pick didn't work as they had intended. So, with this being Fearless, I'm curious to see if any bans get changed up in the second game or, what different strategies come out because these 10 champions are disabled. So, I'm really curious to see the direction that IG chooses to go in this draft to fix up any issues that they had in this one and how Monkeys continue to go on the momentum that they have.
Yeah, and it does look like the Monkeys do have a pretty solid winning formula for themselves here. The idea of we're just going to pick a lot of champions that can go in and have a very strong team fight, and then we still have some sort of late game insurance policy. If we're able to accelerate that, cool. If not, we know we have enough damage. We know we're going to be fine. I like overall what they're doing. I like overall what they've picked. I was a little bit skeptical just looking at the drafts ahead of time, but it looks like the execution is slightly favoring the Monkeys, kind of like uh, what you were anticipating going into this game with the nameplates in mind. Interested to see as well, what specific playstyle adjustments does IG make here with, obviously Sejuani now being disabled. What else does Warwick main have in store? I wonder if maybe Warwick is one of those champions.
I mean, who knows?
It's really a mystery. Nobody knows at this point. Do we see more enchanters coming out? Do we see any more of these heavy tower taking bot laners coming out? Are we going to see another mage in the bot lane? Just a lot of questions. Very curious to see how they get answered as we go into game 2 here shortly.
Yeah, I mean, IG gonna start that one off. They're choosing to go red side for this game too, so definitely already a change up in draft plan. They're looking to probably pick something really strong that was potentially banned out, or they don't want to be banned out in second phase on this R3 pick, and then look to get their counter pick in whatever lane they're choosing to go for with that one. So definitely an interesting choice. I do think, in a best of 5 Fearless, I do think blue side early is strong. As a a man who's done 2 reverse sweeps now in BOL playoffs for Emerald in Fearless mode. Red side can be very strong. You can use it to take away a lot of your opponent's one tricks, and then look to when you eventually have to hop back on blue side because they think, hey, red side seems to be the answer. Whatever you've been banning for the first few games, you can leave that open and steal it for yourself, which takes another pick off the table for them. So I really do like the dichotomy of how draft works in Fearless and what resources you're willing to give up early to be able to hold on to later and vice versa. It's such a fun chess game to have to play and see it played out effectively.
Right. And that's one of those things that, as someone who's down in gold, I'm a little bit upset that we didn't get the ability to play with Fearless. I kind of understand, the greater sentiment down there, why we don't want to play with it. But like you're talking about, for this draft mind game, it's just so much more fun and interesting to think about, what are you taking away from us? What am I taking away from you? And kind of going into this next game, what else is available? What else can fill a similar role to a Jarvan? What else can fill a similar role to a Sejuani? Okay, do you play that champion to that same level? And it's famously does not favor one tricks. So now it's like, okay, what else does Indigo have in store, since the Mordekaiser was able to accomplish the goal of like denying Ornn from the ability to R2, but is Indigo as competent? All right, we are back. Hopefully, maybe. I think
Hopefully.
we're good. I think we're good. I think this is fine. We're gonna just continue talking about this upcoming game too. Talking about the chess match that is Fearless Draft. I believe you had a point before we were cut off by the production gank ninjas.
Yeah.
What are we thinking about, sir?
Yeah, I mean, like I was saying, the deeper you get into players' pool, the less practice they are on it, and it kind of just becomes a bro, just trust me, I know how to play this matchup, or hey, I know we haven't practiced this, but this is a takeaway from the enemy team, and it's something we haven't wanted them to get so far, so we're just gonna play it this game, and it definitely becomes interesting the way that it has to play out, like the later you get in the series, especially once you hit game 4 or game 5 because once you hit game 4, you lose 2 bans. You only have phase 1 bans. In game 5, you're basically just playing blind pick at that point. It's just no
Right.
bans, all guns out, everybody going down with their last breath, big swings. But
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna get
That
draft started up here, and like you said, you were curious what Warwick main was gonna play, and the answer is not Warwick, as it is
I
banned
am
away
shocked.
right
I
away.
am baffled that the Warwick is gone from Warwick main, personally. The Tarek also being a takeaway. Current blue side bans, we do have the Warwick and the Nocturne waiting that third ban. Tarek and Lilia taken away on the red side. Hui joins the ban list. These feel like a lot of power picks from players that think they're very good at League of Legends, right? These are definitely champions that you pick when you're like, oh yeah, you're talking about like, trust me, I got this. These are the trust me, I got this champions that are currently hitting the ban board.
See, I'm actually shocked that Hui got banned away by Litmon. I know Nightmare does play it a lot, so I'm surprised that they're banning that one away. I guess it's not something they want to first pick here, and I guess it is a flex pick probably for the IG between top, I mean mid and bot. But Xin Zhao gonna be the first pick here, and I kind of really like the state that this champion is. I
Yeah.
played against it a few times, played with it a few times. This champion is extremely strong right now, and in the right
Mm-hmm.
draft, in the right comp,
Mm-hmm.
he is just going to run mayhem against enemy teams. And I'm
Yeah.
really looking forward to see how Camry's going to pilot this one. But IG right now hovering one of the strongest 80 carries on the patch. Ash was picked away game 1. Caitlyn going to be picked up here game 2. And like you said, you wanted to see if
It
IG
looks.
goes with another one of these, turret sieging machines. And Caitlyn is that. But if Caitlyn
Yep.
isn't getting at least 3 plates in this lane where you pick Kate Lux, Caitlyn has already lost the lane. It's going to be on IG to accelerate this Caitlyn and get to play that style, which is not an easy thing to do. And I'm curious if they're going to be able to do it.
And that's what I like about the Xin Zhao here as well. Xin is very good into these ranged champions that want to hit you with a lot of these ranged abilities, just because his ult is able to mitigate a lot of that damage. And then as well, Litmon locking in the Blitzcrank, which is another pick that's famously very good into this like Lux Caitlyn type of bot lane. Just, you are immobile, you are dead now. That hook plays very well with the Xin, and both can feed into the Jinx as well. So this is setting up to be a kind of two-pronged threat here. Xin currently does not have an enchanter, so he is a little bit by himself in that regard. But he does have at least one teammate that he is able to start a bouncy castle with. Curious to see how that goes into an Anivia, but currently I do like some of the synergies that are being built up by Litmon, and I really like the bird here from IG.
Yeah, I mean, going all the way back to season 1, Frogging, checking in, hitting the mic right there, locking in the Anivia throwback. But this is Wave Clear Central, right? When you think
Yeah.
of Wave Clear, you think Anivia. That's why games used to be 60 minutes long. That's why Baron has been buffed so many times because
Mhm.
Anivia just stalled games forever. So I'm
Yeah.
really curious to see how much practice Noble Bark has on this champion. You know, former top laner, former mid laner before that, apparently. Role swapping back to mid here. It's definitely going to be curious. And it does pair well with the Kate Lux. It does what Caitlyn wants to do. You throw down the ultimate, you hit somebody with a Q, put a wall behind them. They're not going anywhere. And then it just lets Caitlyn and Lux follow up on the poke. But the Blitzcrank pick into these three so far is still really good. And it's going to be on Pink Penguin to be able to, you know, make that one work the way it's supposed to, because the lane isn't fun. If
Yeah.
Lux Kate plays it right, you're just going to get poked out for like 17 minutes, but it's all about finding the right angles. And a lot of Blitzcranks do the wrong thing of trying to flash Q. If you just WE at people, they're going to flash, and then you can just Q them.
It's on Penguin, but it's also to an extent on the Anivia to be able to actually buy that time. You know, Anivia wants to sit back and scale, stall out, buy as much time. Caitlyn also has kind of that arc where she's very strong early, kind of falls off in that mid game, and then spikes back up to being very strong late game. So if Anivia is able to buy that time to then get back to that late game where Caitlyn can be very, very strong, that can also be a very powerful duo and a powerful reason for the pick. We have the Volibear coming in on R4. Still waiting to see on the position on that, but Litmon's comp is decided. The Talia will match up into the Nivea, and the Shen will currently stand in the top side. They have, once again, like this very strong sort of wombo, but in a different way with the Shen coming out. Now they do have this global and semi-global presence, which makes them a threat to be reckoned with should they come to this mid-game ahead. IG will wrap things out with the Poppy. Decent lane into the Shen, if that is where they decide to put it. Also a decent jungler matchup into the Xin Zhao, if that's where they decide to put it as well. Ultimately, IG are still flexible on their 4-5, but their core, they do need to play around the Blitzcrank very well. They need to be very respectful of that champion on the other side.
Yeah, I mean, you said the Poppy Volibear is a flex. It's not. Poppy has to go top. They nerfed her clear speed so many times. Her Q does like no damage to monsters anymore. So it's gonna be Volley jungle, Poppy top, which is a counter into Shen. You can stop his E. But I love the Shen pick by Litmon. This is one of Steel Fan's champions. He's very good at the champion, knows how to play the lane well, knows how to play game well, and it works well with his Zen Zhao and a Jinx. You know, you have two options you can ult on top of, keep safe, and then look to get back into the fight. But you know, the one thing that we could talk about here, which is really interesting, is we're playing on the newest patch, which means the Yuntal changes have not come out yet.
Ooh, that's
We're very
true.
close. That hits next week. I believe we're hit today, but the Yuntal changes are something a lot of AD carries have been talking about. You know, it's no longer that old passive bleed that it used to. It's the
Right.
way it works. It gives perma crit forever. It has like attack speed stuff involved in it. It is a completely different item than what it used to be. And I know so many on hit champions are like, this is the item now. And I'm really
Yeah.
curious to see if the Caitlyn is going to build it with that lethal tempo build, which I always slander lethal tempo Caitlyn's, but my AD carry did it last night and he hard carried, so I can't slander it anymore. So I'm
Yeah.
curious if the Kate's going to bust that one out and if the Jinx will follow suit in doing that as well.
I do think that that has a lot of value if you are doing with that lethal tempo Caitlyn build. Yuntal being with that change, that attack speed. I've always been kind of a fan of crit Caitlyn, even though I do see the strength behind lethality. I just think that crit will tend to hit a little bit harder in that late game and pair a little bit better with her headshots. So if that does end up going that way, then Caitlyn, if she's able to have the space set up for her, if Volley and Poppy are able to buy that space, if her and Lux are able to get a snowball going, then I could see having a lot, like getting to your crit spikes sooner could help kind of mitigate that mid game plateau. I don't know. I'm just very excited just like looking at these comps. These comps feel very, very fun and kind of depending on they test the coordination of both these teams in very different ways. You know, Litmon with the Talia and the Shen, a lot of it's going to be on the Shen ulti, calling for him on either the Zen, calling him to protect the Jinx, calling him to form a tag team kill squad with the Talia, and then IG just trying to buy the space in the team fights and stall things out past the Zen ulti. I'm very excited for this game too. I think this is going to be a very fun game too.
Yeah, and one fun combo that we didn't get to talk on is the Talia Blitzcrank interactions. Because if Talia throws her E down and Blitz pulls somebody over top of it, they're stunned, which means that the Blitzcrank can get the immediate E onto them, which the Talia gets an immediate flick back, and you just move into Cancun at that point because
I
it's just,
love that ability. I love that
but
interaction so much.
it's so much fun. I've played this on my team personally, and like
Mhm.
another thing you do, you don't even have to queue up Blitzcrank to start. You just run at them, you hit them with an E, then Talia gets a free knockback with the rocks into a stun,
Yep.
into another Blitzcrank pull. It is CC City. If any one CC hits on this team from the side of Litmana, Shanton hits, you're immediately getting knocked back by Talia. Zinzao knocked back by Talia. It
Mhm.
is there for the potential to get the picks that they need. But literally, somebody said in chat, and I saw it. This game comes down to if Pink Penguin can press Q correctly on Blitzcrank.
Yeah. It's no. All these combos are fun. All these combos are exciting to talk about. If this bot lane, if Caitlyn Lux cannot do Caitlyn Lux things, then it is very, very, very hard for IG to make anything happen. So it does come down to that bot lane laning phase. It does come down to the Kate Lux. Ultimately, a lot of pressure going into this. Already down one game in the series, going to try to bring it back to 1-1, try to push it to a match point for them later on. This is a very pivotal game in the series, and we will see how this goes here in just a minute when we see all with the game.
And welcome back, everybody. We are loading up onto the Rift here in Game 2. This time we got Litmon on the blue side, and we got IG Imperial Gaming taken on the red side. We were talking about it right before we loaded in, but Noble Bark on this Anivia choosing to go the Phase Rush, which is definitely a choice that you are allowed to make in a game of League of Legends.
I don't know if you are.
One,
I don't
but
know.
we got some spice cooking. We got monkeys sprinted down mid lane.
This
Penguin flash Q.
Flash for flash trade, jungler and support both without the ever so important F key. Yes, I said F key. If you put it on D, you are wrong. Yeah, no. I don't think that the phase rush on the Anivia is ever a good idea. Just like I don't know if Indigo stepping up there is the best idea. Is going to be able to walk away with his life. Is not going to be punished super hard. But currently starting this top lane down a decent chunk of health, about 200 HP. Not going to be great, and definitely setting up Steel Fan for another at least decent lane phase.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only problem with doing that mid play is you already said, hey, we're already conceding bot. We're not even going to try to contest them, which you can't do.
Yeah.
But it just gives you zero hope of ever touching a wave in the early levels, and they're going to look to just get early poke here, Chef J and Hunter. But also
Yeah.
the thing with Burning Pink Penguin's flashes, he's got Hex Flash. He can still look for plays. Warwick main cannot flash Q onto somebody, and if Noble Bark burned flash, that's just a 10 in the mid lane. So very smart by Warwick main, saying, hey, let me stand in front of you. If anyone's going to flash, I'm going to flash. But Barlow apparently trading all of it. Never mind. Oh my god.
You were talking about no plays, and Pink Penguin is just saying to hell with that. Gonna land the wrong ass hook. Chef J already down to 110 HP on the Caitlyn. This bot lane is going pretty damn okay, all things considered, for the side of the Champagne Monkeys.
I mean, I'm surprised Barlow ran out of that one. I think they could have burned Chef J's flash at level 1 there if he just started auto-attacking, but ran away, left the support at the dry. He said Pink Penguin solo him for me. Couldn't get away with this one, but they did burn the barrier. Pink Penguin did burn his Ignite, so a little bit less kill threat in this lane now if a hook ever lands. But, you know, the potential is there if they can get their CC layered correctly with the Jinx traps and all the Blitzcrank shenanigans. But really good start to the game for Monkeys here. You know, never mind Steelfan taking a bad trade up in that top lane.
Steelfan, top lane not looking great for the side of the Champagne Monkeys. Bot lane is looking pretty decent for them overall. Nightmare in a rough spot here. Good wall coming out. Nightmare having to flash away. Throwing the Q back there. Camry trying his best to chunk down the Warwick main. Warwick main on the volley bear. Not quite able to get it. Is going to be failing the flash though. Jumps back in onto the Talia, onto the Anivia. Talia gets the kill. Anivia in the egg. This is a disaster play from the side of IG as 99 Camry and Nightmare in the mid lane take the 2v2 mid jungle trade and end up getting the 2v2 kill.
Okay, first of all, how do they both live? Second of all, how did Nightmare get ganked when Volibear has no flash? That is, I think, the most shocking thing that happened in that whole play. But, you know, really well played by Camry and Nightmare, perfectly juggling damage the best they could, kiting everything out. They saw Nivea burned every ability, so her auto attacks do nothing, which means there's no damage threat. Burn everything onto Warwick main, get him down, and then he can turn your focus onto Noble Bark. Once he's an egg, you have 0 damage threat. You can have 1 HP, and it doesn't matter. So really well played by the Litmon 2v2, and this is kind of what we were alluding to in draft, is like, if Anivia can't play the game, and Caitlyn can't play the game, what is going to come... Okay, nice hook on a minion there, but what is going to become of this IG draft, and how is it going to work out for them? But once again, we see Steelfan on the end of a bad trade in top lane, but gets away.
Yeah, Steelfan starting to be a little bit more aggressive, starting to get punished for a little bit of his overzealousness here into the Poppy. Poppy is a very strong champion in these early levels. She does his very high base damages, so that's not super surprising. The more surprising thing is that this bot lane is going as well as it is for the side of Litmon. Jinx Blitzcrank, from that earlier trade with the Caitlyn before she burned her barrier, the important thing is that she still has flash and Lux still has both sums as well. So overall, they weren't punished as hard as they could have been. It now is just coming to Noble Bark. Is Noble Bark able to do anything to come back? Steelfan barely not quite down. Does manage to live. Indigo has to go under. Steelfan gets the outplay in the 1v1. Indigo barely not getting that kill. Steelfan living on 5 HP. What are we doing, Indigo?
That is the Steelfan I know. In a server somewhere, there is a copy pasta for Steelfan for a reason, and that is it right there. But yeah, I mean, the fact that not only did Steelfan get that solo kill and basically save the laning phase that he was suffering in, but the fact that Barolo has a CS lead against the Caitlyn kind of means IG's game is cooked at this point, right? Caitlyn
Yeah.
and Lux, you're double ranged into melee ranged, right? They should never get to live in this lane. They should be forced under turret. They should not be forcing you under turret, and they shouldn't be up almost 20 CS at this point in the game. So I don't know what's going on in this bot lane, but Barolo and Pink Penguin apparently be the ones who mandate how this game plays out and how this lane works. But another trade up in this top lane, I don't think Indigo wants to take these anymore. Steelfan's starting to do a big chunk of damage onto him with those empowered Qs, with the Bomby Cinder and the Grass procs. He is going to start scaling up into this game and be a problem.
Game 2 starting to be a bit of a problem here for the side of IG, just across the board, like you're saying. This scaling is coming earlier than they would have liked. That Blitzcrank flash is going to go onto the Caitlyn. Caitlyn still has both of her sums, but will it matter into the Xin Zhao? The layering of the traps from the Jinx enables Xin Zhao to just jump onto this Lux. Looking at a 2v2 here, Lux barely has flash, barely has heal, doesn't want to click either button, does end up going down. Pink Penguin somehow picks up that kill as Barolo now up here. Significant advantage, that 20 CS plus the kill here. All 5 members of Litmon boasting a kill to their name. All 5 of these players are just so far ahead of their opposite member. This game is borderline impossible.
Yeah, I mean, I said it in the draft. Caitlyn, if she's not ahead and has 3 plates by the time laning phase is over, you have basically lost the game, right? This champion falls off a cliff after 1 item and then doesn't get back online until you buy a 3rd, sometimes a 4th, depending on your build. So seeing this happen is not ideal whatsoever. Also, Barolo still has not flashed or used cleanse at all, and just finally backs now. And that's just criminal at this point in the game. Oh, never mind. They're looking for a play top lane.
Speaking of these players here, this Taliyah also going slightly unnoticed. Steelfire helps get the kill as they now jump onto Indigo here. Indigo not able to get out of this one. Doesn't have flash. Will try to do something with the ult. Knocks them both away. Gets the... Indigo somehow trying his best to stay alive here. Has to outplay the Blitzcrank. Manages to do so. Sidesteps the hook. Steel Penguin, Steel, these two able under tower. Indigo trying his best to stay alive. Pink Penguin can no longer continue to tank. Steel Fan now has to try to walk away. Indigo, no mana, barely any health. Trying to get something, trying to get anything. Steel Fan under the tower. The hook will not hit. All these members so incredibly low. Camry trying his hand, trying to come up now on the Xin Zhao. Forces Indigo. Indigo stops the back, tries to reposition to better live against Camry. Camry decides against it, does not want to challenge the Poppy under tower. And the result for that will be the Dragon going over to the side of IG.
The fact that Indigo lived there is insane. Like, Nightmare got the wall up, cut him off completely, but Indigo walks down to position onto the Shen to get an E off and then get both of them hit in a fully charged Poppy ultimate there. That was really well played by him. And then to live on that tower dive too, almost taking out 2 with him. Really well played by him. But, like you said, the price to pay is that the Dragon goes down to the side of IG, giving them some hope to scale up into this game. But, I mean, 2 grubs go over to the side of Literal Monkey Champagne. And, I think even if they get 4 grubs, 5 grubs, like, Jinx does siege very well in the late game because she does scale up in attack range when you get put levels into that queue. So she also becomes a siege machine once you get into that late game, just using rocket Qs to just blast the turret from the length of a cannon minion. It's a big problem, and, IG has to find something on the map here to get them back into this game quickly.
One thing that is starting to help them come back into the game is a little bit, after that series of play around those Void Grubs, we were able to see Anivia collect a lot of farm. She was at one point down almost 20 CS, over 20 CS, now cutting that down to just about 10, in a significantly better spot than she was about 5 minutes ago. Even though it is still currently phase rush, it is still not going to scale as hard as it possibly could, but it does buy them a little bit of reprieve against the Taliyah here. Very curious to see what she's able to do with it, how she's able to recover after this point. But right now, 99 Camry stepping up, trying to clear a ward. Not going to be getting too much else. Indigo and Steelfan continuing to trade, continuing to chill up in this top lane. Now they're going to accomplish too much. Kind of in a holding pattern until either the next Scrubs or the next Dragon spawns. waiting to see what the next series of play will be, as Steelfan does jump in for a trade here. Indigo trying his best to knock back out of it. Workman goes in, jumps onto Nightmare. The wall comes up as well. Nightmare super low, does go down to the volley bear. 99 Camry jumping on, jumps onto the Lux. Lux hits the heal button, tries to stay alive, has to flash. No summoners on the bot side, aside from the Caitlyn heal. The trap will land. That will be the ultimate coming out from the Caitlyn. 99 Camry living on 2 HP, does get knocked back, does end up getting hit with the Blitzcrank ultimate. Manages to get the kill onto the Zen Shao. Chef J does burn down. Pink Penguin picks that up. Hunter XZ trying his best to live here against the Blitzcrank. 100 HP. Sub that. Flashes under tower. The E comes back. That will be Pink Penguin going down. That will be Lux picking up that kill. A disaster from the side of Litmon as 2 members fall at only the price of the Caitlyn.
Yeah, if I could swear, I would say, what the F was that? But, that whole passage of play happened when Jinx is under their own tier 1 farming minions. They had no damage.
Passage of play, that was going to be a potential look there, but Indigo, respecting the Talia, will flash over that wall. Nightmare invests the ultimate, not able to get too much out of it. Caitlyn rotating into the mid lane, trying to get something. This passage of play is now starting to very heavily favor the side of Litmon from what could have been the beginning of a reverse snowball for them.
Yeah, I mean, Litmon was up 3k before they decided to end bot lane, only being up 2k now. So I'm a big question mark around that play by Camry and Pink Penguin there. Your Jinx is farming her own minions, and you guys are like, let's dive between turrets at this point in the game. Like, if Volibear was there, that play isn't even close, but luckily he was ganking mid. But Camry, once again, in a questionable spot, solo invading by himself, and never mind, Steelfan
does manage to call the Avengers in time, does have the Talia and the Shen to back him up. They will continue this play forward. That is Nightmare. Unfortunately, steps too far forward without his friend, fair share of the Avengers. Does end up falling down there, as now the Caitlyn Lux do manage to chunk down Pink Penguin for just over half of his health, but unfortunately will not matter too much, as Brolo is now permitted to just free collect all of this farm under his own tower, sitting at a nearly 40 CS lead over the Caitlyn Lux. As Jinx Blitzcrank, they have a nearly 40 CS lead.
Hey, I don't care about that. They hit the Poppy and Nivea combo. Everything you dream of when you draft this duo, the Poppy heroic slam into the Nivea wall. They did it. Wide hook out of there from Pink Penguin. A little, maybe he needs some prescription glasses to hit that one next time. But, yeah, they did the combo. Barolo has a flash there. Oh, my God. No respect out of this bot lane. You're up 40 CS, but they still have damage, guys. They still
Excellent
do stuff.
threatening ultimate coming out there. This will be a dash coming out of the Indigo. There's a lot of damage here on the side of the Shen now into the Poppy, but unfortunately not able to do too much else there. The wave slowly starting to shove under here, as it looks like this is going to set up for the Grubs going over to the side of Litmon. Price for that will be some plates going over to this Caitlyn, so she is getting some gold injected back into her, but unfortunately I don't think it's going to be enough, as this is going to be all 6 Grubs collected for this Xin Zhao and for this Talia.
It's going to be 5 Grubs. They were able to get one earlier on the side of IG.
Oh, correct. Thank you for correction.
I think that is what you dream of as this bot lane of Lux Caitlyn. Like, Pink Penguin whiffs on 2 Qs, he loses all of his health, then you can just focus everything onto Barolo, and then he has to burn flash, and then you pick up 3 plates in the bottom lane. But I don't even think that passage of play ends up happening if we don't have that dive between tier 2 turrets, because Caitlyn would not have any items to be able to threaten with any damage. But she picks up a kill in that passage of play. Lux gets another, starts building up to an item, and they're looking for Noble Bark here.
Noble Bark trying to make some kind of a comeback happen here, but unfortunately the CC layering is just a little bit too much. Noble Bark now under the egg, will be taking a little bit of damage, but unfortunately that tower there does prevent Litmon from picking up any more kills. Noble Bark escapes due to the Anivia passive, and that play will burn that for the next event here. Another thing that I do want to bring up here while we do have a slight little bit of reprieve is that IG do have both of the first 2 dragons, so this is a potential angle for them to set up for Soul Point here. Now that we know this is going to be, what, Mountain Dragon? Mountain Soul?
Yes, it should be, I believe. Unless, normally when the graphic bugs, it shows Infernal, so I believe it is going to be Mountain Soul, because that is the one that is showing and not Infernal. So, yeah, I think a Mountain Soul on the side of IG would be very helpful for them, but it's also helpful for whatever side ends up getting at this one. It's one of the more impactful souls in the game. That shield is insane, and it helps a lot into the Caitlyn Lux poke that's coming out, and Steelfan and Indigo just trading top lanes blow for blow up here. They're trying to top damage charts by having two tanks fight each other this game.
Yep, these two meatballs are definitely smacking each other with their entire bodies, fighting with their entire heart and soul. As right now, we do have a big play coming down in this bot lane, 3v3. Warwickmane jumping in on the Volibear. That is going to be the Lux ult coming through. That's Pink Penguin going down early, and it's going to be Lux sure to follow, as Volibear does manage to jump on top of the Jinx, pick up that kill. 99 Camry trying his best to get some kind of a turnaround here. That is going to be the Caitlyn, that is going to be the Volibear, that is going to be the Shen ultimate coming down. Not going to be able to get it. The double kill for the Volibear. This 3v3 ends up playing out beautifully for IG, as this gold lead that was once 3k begins to shatter as Indigo manages to get a kill under tower. This Poppy is now big as well. Nightmare trying to get something scrapped up on this map for favor, but unfortunately, this game is now even.
Yeah, I mean, in a game that shouldn't be, it has become even just based off the decision-making out of Monkey Champagne here, just really over-forcing onto plays they shouldn't be trying to hard force on. Like, I just have a lot of question marks about the decision-making that they're making so far. You know, SteelFan tried to get the ultimate onto Camry. Camry not even picking up the kill onto Hunter in that bot lane, tries to turn back onto Chef J after his, support and AD carry had already died and going down in the process for it and wasting, a impactful ultimate in the Shen ultimate lets him, shield up Jinx, who you're trying to have carry, or, like in a very important team fight just doesn't work out. But I'm just very curious, like, what decision-making process is being had by Monkey Champagne here, because Caitlyn is back in this game after starting the game so far behind. Yes, she's still down 30 CS, but she's even on items with this Jinx when Jinx was just rocketed in this early game, only up 200 gold now. It's definitely winnable now by IG after everything that just happened in the last, like, 5-6 minutes.
That was a really good setup coming out from Warwickmane on the Volibear there that we saw. That ended up being that patient gank, just waiting there for something to happen, calling out the fact that 99 Camry and Pink Penguin were going to try to continue some sort of advantage onto Barolo, onto the Jinx. Now they're in a very good situation here, looking to potentially get some kind of siege going in this mid lane as they rotate members up. Noble Bark and Warwickmane both going to be pushing back under their own tower a little bit. Unfortunately, no ultimates here will hit cross map, as now they're just going to be holding this tower. Nightmare and Camry not really able to find anything into the Anivia.
Yeah, I mean, Anivia does very well to answer champions like Xin Zhao or even Shen, who are just trying to get on top of you very quickly with her ultimate and her wall. Just making people play at a different angle that they have to look for. And Pink Penguin going to get a hook here, though.
That's going to be a very good layering of the CC. The Lux is going to... It manages to get the ult off. Barolo is chunked. That ultimate will not hit from the Caitlyn. That is going to be body blocked by Pink Penguin. A quick kill off of the great hook from Pink Penguin does mean that the Lux goes down. Does mean that the mid lane siege will have to be called short. Indigo, however, still pushing in on this top tier 2. Has Steel Fan chunked to half health. And right now, Indigo doing a lot better in game 2 than they were in game 1. Was able to pick up the first tower earlier for themselves, and now looking onto the Shen once again under his own tower. Steel Fan down to just about a quarter health. Indigo continuing this poke, trying to get as much chip damage as he can onto that tower, trying to get as much damage as he can. Potentially looking for one more, does not have the Q, not able to follow up in the Shen W. Potentially a risky situation, potentially a scary situation, as the rest of the members on the map are beginning to look onto this dragon here. Xin Zhao and the Jinx are hitting that. Meanwhile, Indigo is hitting Steel Fan. Steel Fan gets the taunt under tower. Indigo forced to flash. Steel Fan lives. Indigo still sticking around, still playing cocky. That will be the dragon going over to the side of Litbon in the meantime.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of Indigo, smart purchase on the Bramble Vest by them, just to, ensure trades win even more. Every time Shen tries to go in for one of them grass procs, he's going to get harassed by on top of the fully complete Sunfire Cape here. And then also the big thing is Poppy's Shield and Enhanced Auto, the ranged auto, lets you proc Grasp. So you can just guarantee win trades and proc Grasp for yourself whenever you want. And okay, this is an interesting purchase here out of Steel Fan. Going for the new Moby boots. I don't even know the name of these items because
the Symbiotic Souls.
I never buy them, and I am a support.
Yeah, Symbiotic Souls is an item of all time.
I think they are terrible. I have built them on one champion and one champion alone, and that was Iron support. All right.
Yeah.
So that tells you the use of it.
I'm not sure if it is. Pink Penguin did look like he was in a little bit of trouble, is going to hit the turnaround onto the Q, onto the Poppy. Unfortunately for him, he did have to burn the flash, but there will be no further play coming out from the side of IG. Going to take that small win and carry it, as now we do have what looks like Baron spawning up here shortly. Wondering if anything will happen of that. Potentially not, as we have 3 members here currently hovering around this mid lane. The Caitlyn and the Lux have moved up. Poppy is still pushing in on this top lane, and both our mid laners are currently just chilling in the bot lane. Anivia perfectly content with this to continue farming up. Let that Rod of Ages stack back up, potentially build towards a second item. The Archangel's Staff, if I remember the name of the item correctly.
Yep.
As Xin Zhao looking down there, not able to get too much. Surprised we haven't seen any more towers fall in the last 5 minutes. It has currently only been that top tier 1, which is why Poppy is playing so far up, as no one else is really able to get a really strong shove. Looks like both teams are just kind of waiting for that next big objective to try to make some kind of a play. As I say that, it is the Xin Zhao looking. It is the 2v2 going on in the mid lane as well. Pink Penguin getting trunked very low. Warwick main jumping in onto the Xin Zhao. But unfortunately for them, that is going to be the flash going out from Warwick. Camry does get that in exchange, but Indigo is keeping this top lane tier 2 chunked down to now to about half turret HP. Indigo and Steel Fan continuing to trade. This bot lane in the mid lane currently trading with each other as well. Overall, we're seeing a lot of scraps on the map, but we're not seeing a lot tangible come out of it.
Yeah, and you know, it's definitely interesting that no turrets go down, but it also makes sense. Both these teams have very good straight line wave clear. Caitlyn with the Q, Jinx with the rockets. You have a Talia, Anivia known as like for their wave clear. So it's really hard to just straight up siege turrets for both teams. Even with a Caitlyn, you have to try to get somebody chunked low or picked. But they're gonna go for Plan Indigo up in this top lane.
That is one of those things that Talia can do. She can get for that pick, but that ultimate does give Poppy the wall for that stun there. That is going to be the ult coming out, trying to get something on a Steel Fan. Steel Fan forced to flash back. Warwick main jumping, fighting on the Xin Zhao. Poppy is able to pick up the kill onto the Shen, and this Volibear able to successfully 1v1. That is the Xin Zhao flash. That is the ultimate coming up from the Volibear. Poppy might go down here on the top side. That is all of those empowered Qs in that worked round. Volibear trying his best, chunking him down. Talia knocks the back, is able to pick up that kill. Double kill going over the Talia. Lux ultimate is going to go wide. 2 for 2 on the map, 2 for 2 on the trade. Caitlyn left alone to chunk down this mid tower, and bot lane tower also went down. 3 for 0 there. Play overall does favor IG. Kills going even.
Yeah, the fact that Indigo turned that around onto them and picked up the 1v2 kill is very, very good for the side of IG. And then Warwick main just zoning out Camry that whole time, even winning the trade and getting that solo kill onto him is good, but really well played by Nightmare there. I was going to touch on his build before we even got into that play where he was going for the Leandries, which makes sense into the Warwick and Poppy. You're just looking for that sustained burn damage. And it actually paid up dividends there because he was able to pick up both the kills on them. And I think he just went for like a straight up burst build that some Talias choose to do. I don't think he would have gotten either of them in that play, honestly.
Yeah, I'm definitely more of as a bit of a Talia connoisseur. I've always preferred the burn build. I just feel like the sustained DPS that you get from it is just significantly more superior. You have enough burst with your worked ground Q that you don't need to worry about bursting up the squishy targets. And when your opponent team does have these strong frontline like a Volibear and like a Poppy, just being able to actually cut through that is just incredibly valuable. So I do very much like Nightmare's build. I like the style he is going for, as now the rest of his team is setting up onto this dragon here, the second Mountain Drake for them, 4th overall in the game. Interested to see how this plays out, as they are first to the objective. They are first to set up. Currently, both teams trying to get some kind of position here, trying to get some kind of a wave state, so neither will go on it. That will be Barolo forced to flash there. That will be both teams jumping in. That is the Lux going down. That is the reset for the Jinx. Volibear main is having to fight back, having to kite back. He will get knocked down. Steel Fan in the backside, able to get that kill going on. Knocked back onto Indigo. Poppy gets pulled back by the Blitzcrank. Steel Fan now under tower, does manage to barely get out alive. Noble Bark is the only one left standing as the rest of his team falls. It is now going to be a dragon from the Xin Zhao and the Talia going the way of Litmon here, as a 4 for 0 team fight goes their way.
Yeah, what a team fight out of Monkey Champagne. I thought Barolo was going to get caught in that mid lane, but flashes away. And then the re-engage by Pink Penguin and 99 Camry alongside of Nightmare with that ultimate to split the team in perfect path. was really, really well played there. And also the Jinx Rocket flying over top, Mega Death Rocket picking up the kill onto the Lux to start that Hyper proc reset and just start shredding in a team fight. On top of Cameron getting on the backline, Shen ultimate over top, and then Steelfan just able to 1v1 Chef J in the backline, even through Flash and through Barrier, gets the kill on him. Really, really well played by Monkey Champlain there. Clean as as they want in these team fights. They don't want to be getting chunked as they were to start it, but able to turn it around in the end. And swinging momentum back in their favor that they had in the early game and trying to get this game back under their control and go up 2-0 in the series.
It definitely did feel like a bit of an overforce from potentially the Volley Bear, potentially the rest of the team there on the side of IG, as now they've almost evened up the tower count, and they sit once again with a 2.5k gold lead. Very strong for themselves, as right now both teams just kind of waiting for that next power point, next pressure point for play, as they're beginning to load some members up onto this top side here with the Xin Zhao. Do not decide to overengage onto this Poppy. And Indigo, same story as before, is continuing pressure in the top lane, but will not be able to get much more out of it. Kind of curious to see what angle here IG try to go for to get themselves back into this game now. It felt like they had a way to get back in and maintain a winning position, but they just overforced in that mid lane fight, and now they're down 2 dragons. Their dragon stacking is no more. It's completely even. Their tower advantage that they had for a brief moment is no more. That's almost completely even. And even though they do still have some strong points in individual lane matchups, it feels like they've given over a lot of gold that now favors the side of the Champagne Monkeys.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like you said, just like they had the way to win this game in their hand and then just kind of fumbling with it, dropping all the eggs that were in the basket and just letting it cook sunny side up on the sidewalk because, the game was in their hand. They had the momentum swung back into their favor. They have a superior siege comp because of the way that Caitlyn works hitting turrets with that empowered auto attack with the headshot. But just a few overextensions really caught them, and I think it was like that last team fight. 99 Camry just able to get onto the backline was really what did it there. But they're also not trying to push advantages before any team fights. They're not looking for any picks onto these, immobile carries that have like no flashes or anything like that. So the longer that they wait to make these plays and like pick up stuff like in trade or push a tempo, it favors Monkey Champagne because their team fight, they want to front to back. They want to get you into these team fights where they can just use all their combos on you. And, IG kind of just letting them do that and playing into their hand. So it's definitely still winnable for IG. It's just, are they going to start, pushing the tempo and trying to get these picks with like a Kate Lux and Nivea followed up with Volibear that they have the potential to do, but haven't done yet.
I like how you mentioned that idea of like pushing the tempo, because the longer this game goes, the more it does favor the side of the Champagne Monkeys, because you have a Jinx who wants to be 6 items. That is her ultimate power fantasy, is just being God on the Rift. You have a Talia who really likes having these items and going later into the game. She's getting close to whatever her next item ends up being, if it's Death Cap, Void Staff, what have you. You have a Xin Zhao who loves having these items. You have a Shen who loves being level 16 with these items. As right now they are jumping in onto the Poppy, is going to be Steelfan by himself as Xin Zhao gets knocked away, but that ultimate will no longer be up if a potential Baron Dance does come through, or if Dragon play continues for the next minute and 10 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, like Indigo had to burn the ultimate there, otherwise he's dead. So smart idea by him to just burn that one. But also, I think you just let Shen recall and never put yourself in the spot where you have to burn the ultimate. But the big thing to look at is the way that Plat teams choose to play the map. No one is pressuring Baron at this point in the game, but both teams have the potential to do so with the comps that they've drafted. Just no one ever feels comfortable starting it up at the CLO because they're like, it does too much damage. We're going to die at it when they come in. But you got to think about the risk and reward that you can take. Like, if you're the side of Monkey Champagne, you want them to walk through choke points, right? You have the draft for that. So you just start up the Baron, you force them to come to you, you fish with a Blitzcrank hook, or you just get the engage with a Talia EW combo, and there's nothing that they can do against it. And you have a Xin Zhao and a Shen who can tank it up for a while, even Blitzcrank on top of that. But like, the more that teams let games go along, the scarier it is for both sides, even if you are the scaling comp, just because one misstep, one misplay loses you the whole game. And we're going to see a fight break out here, though.
Very big engage here coming out from the Talia wall. The Lux ult will fire over top, but it's not going to do a whole lot. Warwick ult is coming in. The Volibear not able to do too much before he dies on the backside. Chef J is getting chunked down by Steel Fan and that Jinx. Meanwhile, it will be Pink Penguin getting knocked low, but not down by Indigo. Indigo not able to do too much else. Barely trying to escape, but will die to the smite. That is going to be the hook coming down onto Hunter. That's only, once again, Noel Bark being alive on the Anivia as the rest of his team falls. Dragon going over to the Champagne Monkeys, and this could even potentially be a Baron swing for them if they decide to go for it with all 4 members down on the side of IG. This is a huge swing in their favor.
Yeah, I mean, shout out Nightmare with that ultimate, immediately forcing Chef J and Hunter to flash before that fight even starts. And that's just a winning recipe. When you have 2 immobile characters with no flash, and you have a fed Jinx and a Shen who can just go wherever he pleases, you just win at that point. And, you know, like you said, it could be a Baron play with the 4 down. It should be, and it is. Really smart decision by Champagne there. There's no threat onto them. Big, you know, I was about to say, Nightmare already doing it for me. Go up to this top lane, push that in, break that turret, because, you know, you see 2 mid, and you have no threat. You have the Baron recall. You even have Talia ultimate backup if you need to get out. So, really, really good push of the tempo here by Champagne. And, you know, putting the game into their hands instead of letting it be a coin flip.
Yeah, it's just great play coming out, pressing their advantage, just continuing. They know that they're strong. They know that this is their moment to just grab this game by the throat and continue to squeeze, choke IG out of it. This Baron is acting just as this ultimate catapult for them now. I'd be willing to wager that this is approximately a 3.5k Baron play-ish, give or take. It's just, they look so strong now that they have this advantage, and I don't see a way where they really throw it, barring something completely catastrophic. Just need to nail these lane assignments, put people in the right places. As now, one other thing that we need to mention with that fact that they have a Shen and a Talia, as they have this global map pressure, they're able to play on all 3 lanes. Like, they don't need to overextend for it, but they can play on top, mid, and bot, and know that they're able to back each other up at a moment's notice. As right now we have this fight beginning to break out. Xin Zhao a little bit forward all by himself. Indigo is in the back line. That's going to be a TP coming out from the Shen. It's now a 5v4 on the top side. Not even Camera gets the first kill on Caitlyn. Indigo by himself once again in the middle of this team fight, but will go down. Trying to take Ping Penguin out with him. Will not do so. Ultimately does fall, but not before 2 of his own do first. Warwick main left alone as 4 members here of Champagne Monkeys begin to push down on this top side. Steel Fan chases after him just to scare him away. Moving down to this mid lane as tier 2 top will fall. This game is basically sealed at this point.
Yeah, that max range ultimate by Nightmare to just barely get that cut off from Indigo, giving him no escape route on that play. And, you know, you did mention it before of the lane assignments. I was going to say I don't like Champagne all being in mid lane, but immediately they rotate up to a top lane, immediately get the play they're looking for, and now they're going to rotate into mid, take this turret, and then, you know, they could even just go bot after this one. Okay, minion wave taking a little bit there.
Steel Fan did not care about that
Steel Fan
he wanted Talia to earn it, dude.
He said, I'm not hitting this minion wave. I need to go bot lane. I need to start getting this wave pushed for us. But, yeah, I mean, if we're going to talk macro here, Steel Fan should have just taken the wave because then they could have gotten in hit. Oh, my God, Chef J.
They will take the kill on Caitlyn for free. Chef J not able to stand up, not able to click the barrier. He will just die. He will get blown up.
Forget macro plays. Forget the inhib. Just kill the Caitlyn. What are they going to do then? But yeah, no, small macro play. You just take the mid wave, and then you're able to get the inhib, rotate bot, and then look for triple inhib. But Nightmare is probably just dead here.
Yep, that is a slight overextension from him. Great collapse by Noble Bark to just throw the wall down, keep him in place, keep him down. That will be a 50-second death timer. That is significant. He will be up in time for the Dragon, but unfortunately for them, they're not going to have this mid laner for another pick, but hey, another pick is actually going to go their favor. Indigo gets knocked over the wall, trying his best to get Steel Fan going over here. Will end up knocking away the Volibear. Indigo, left alone here, does not have many tools to outplay this. Warwick main tries his best to get anything, but will not be able to do so. Indigo in the front line now will go down. Double kill going over the Jinx. Hook not going to find anything else, but he doesn't even need to. That's 2 more kills going over. Death timers once again favoring the side of Champagne Monkeys. It is 26-12. They're able to shove these waves if they want to, instead of deciding to just play this game slow and safe and stable, waiting for that soul to come up in about 50 seconds.
Yeah, it's an 11K gold lead at this point. Like, IG is grasping at straws. There's no real way for them back in this game unless they're like getting an ace under both of their Nexus turrets. But like the only thing that you can knock Champagne for in this game, besides like the early game mess ups, it's all the same thing. It's their macro play is the only thing that's been brought into question in the series. Right, they're outplaying in team fights. It's just the small, minute plays that they're making, like the mid push and the early game where they're diving between two turrets, and then. When they have Baron, Jinx is recalling instead of going bot, which lets Nightmare die. It's just these small things that like teams at this level would want to clean up to, you know, move on to that next stage, and that's what you want to see. You want to see all of them grow, but otherwise, there's nothing you can really knock in Champagne's gameplay here. Pink Penguin is going to look to end this game here with his own hands going in by himself.
He does jump in a little bit too far, maybe, but he does get the play started off at the very least. That is the Jinx getting that first kill, gets knocked back by the Indigo. That is Camry trying his best to jump forward, tries his best to get something, but does get stunned up against the wall. Steelfan will make sure that that is it. Goes onto the backline there by himself with the ultimate, getting into the fight, Taunt getting into that play. Indigo does fall down to Nightmare. Maybe not, maybe I spoke too soon, as he does end up barely getting work done, barely losing his life there. This will be the Mountain Soul coming in. And that is just like you're talking about, these minute things that aren't quite going their way. Pink Penguin stepping up a little bit too far forward by himself without the immediate follow-up. Does end up working out, but against maybe a better team in a more even game state, you think that that is not the correct play at all. You think that they do get punished even harder for that. Fortunately for them, this is not an even game. Fortunately for them, they're not against a top team. They're against a team that is at their level. They're against a team that has an 11K gold deficit, now a 12K gold deficit, as they are looking to put the final touches on this game, getting the mid lane inhibitor, potentially looking for one last Baron in order to get things wrapped up and end this game.
Yeah, I mean, that fight wasn't a massacre only because Indigo won it for his team. Technically speaking, he ulted away the hyper-proc Jinx, and that is what he needed to do to not get aced and have the game end there, and give his team this even a small chance to get back into this one. The only way they have the actual chance is Warwick Main has to steal this Baron. There's no question about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
If they give Baron here, it's just game over. But Steelfan TPing up to this top lane, and Nightmare is going to do his best work to just solo zone away the rest. Never mind, Steelfan joins up with him. They're just going to zone him out. It's over.
There are too many bodies here, playing too good of a bodyguard. This is a second Baron going over to the side of Champagne Monkeys. This is a massive wave here with the super minions marching down. Steelfan is on the top side as well, so they have multiple waves pushing. If they can't get it through mid, they can surely get it through top. At this point, they can just smack them with their wallets and smack them with this big purple worm buff, and they will be able to get it, you would have to think. As right now, Steelfan is just knocking against Indigo, not accomplishing a whole lot other than just buying time and for this wave to push in. As now the same thing is happening in that mid wave. One last wave will come through. One last hook will come through to take down Warwick Main.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, chasing down the Anivia, not going to accomplish much. Jumping in on the Poppy, not going to accomplish a whole lot. First Nexus Tower goes down. The second one will fall shortly after. Indigo trying his best to get anything. Ultimate goes wide. Chef J goes down. Indigo gets knocked away. Second Nexus of the series goes down for the side of Champagne Monkeys, and that is them taking a 2-0 lead in this final bracket match.
Yeah, I mean, really, really good play out of Barolo there, only dying once that whole game. And also, shout out Steelfan up in that top lane, playing the counter matchup and into the counter matchup and playing it well. I mean, I told you, if this man gets his champions, he is a different breed of top laner, and he showed it there. But all in all, it's just the small macro plays for Monkey Champagne if they want to clean this up to, look towards the next round. But I'm finding it very hard to believe that IG has a way back into the series. But we won't know the answer to that until we get into the third game, and hopefully, IG can get that reverse sweep.
Champagne are looking very strong here going into game number 3. They're looking just incredibly solid and have a lot of faith in each other in these team fights. They have a lot of faith in each other with these macro calls. Room for improvement to be sure, but they're definitely looking to improve their record here up to 3-0 as we move on to the ever so pivotal game 3. Will the series end or will it be a reverse sweep? Please stick around. We'll be getting into game 3 here shortly in this playoffs match. And we are back with game number 3 of this series. Once again, we have the literal Champagne Monkeys going up against Imperial Gaming IG. We have this match currently a 2-0 for the side of the Monkeys, but we do have some other matches that are going on today. So real quick, my friend, how is the rest of the league looking on this fine Wednesday evening?
Yeah, right now we have Condor Revelation against the other monkey team, Monkey Business. Monkey Business up 2-0 against one of the teams favored to win the whole thing. And then on that same side, or on the other side of the bracket, we have Dorado Gaming and Subatomic Proton. It looks like it could end up being 1-1, but also Dorado can get the game 2 win here. They're kind of pushing for it at the moment we speak. And then the other one, Hydro Great White against Misery Obsidian Vice. Misery Obsidian Vice up 2-0 in that one. So potential for a lot of just 3-0 clean sweeps tonight if everything keeps going how it's supposed to. But something we got to talk about for this series that we didn't mention yet, there is a jungle swap for the side of IG. Warwick Main has been subbed out, and Ziggy is subbing in for jungle in game 3 here.
Now, and this is one that I saw and I immediately got very excited for. Ziggy is my boy. Last season when he played in BOL Gold, I was hyping him up constantly in the content that I was writing for that league. I think Ziggy was still... Jokes about me aside, I genuinely thought that he was the best like individual jungler in that league. And now seeing him in Plat, I know he likes to say that he doesn't care about things. He's lying. He does care. When he's playing, he gets very passionate. When he's playing, he wants to win. Hopefully for IG, that is the swap that they need for this team to become competitive. That is going to be the Hecarim taken away. His Hecarim taken away. That is his signature pick. That is his guy. Very curious to see how they respond to the B1 Hecarim from the side of Litmon.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just hard being subbed in game 3 of a series, especially with your back against the wall. It puts a lot of pressure on you as a player, and you kind of feel really bad if you do let the team down. So I'm hoping that's not the case. I'm hoping IG is able to pick one up here just for like the mental sake of the team. I know it could be hard even coming in down 2-0 with the mentals of the team, depending on how the team is looking. But I think a Hecarim B1 is definitely an interesting pick. It's something kind of a lot of junglers I've been playing with recently have been talking about as being really strong right now. A lot of buffs, like small buffs to him, small nerfs to other champions, really pumping them up in win rate and a lot of this stuff. So I'm really curious to see how Limon's going to play this one out. I have seen 99 Camry pull it out before. Looked all right. I wasn't super impressed by it. But Kaisa, another really strong 80 carry right now. I also like this Vi locked in here for the side of IG. I'm not sure you know Ziggy more than I do, so hopefully he knows how to pilot the Vi around this map. But locking Vayne into a Vi is a choice you can make because they're just going to ult you, and it's going to be really hard to play the game.
Yeah, that's definitely a champion that Ziggy is pretty confident on, pretty comfortable on. He likes these champions that give him this agency, this ability to make plays happen on the map. He has been in the past, like, obviously the Hecarim is one of his big picks, but he's also been notable on things like Briar, things like the Nocturne, things like Vi have been in his wheelhouse as well. So this is not unusual for him to go this type of champion. And this is pretty close to best case scenario for an ADC to target. Vayne likes to be mobile, and unfortunately her Condemn will not be able to do anything against the Vi Ultimate. Will be able to do something against the Vi Q, but it does kind of depend on how the CC gets layered here, especially now with the Rakan coming in. So we have Kaisa, Vi, Rakan, definitely looking to ram their CC down Litmon's throats and kind of just by force of will take this to another game. But we still have another half of the ban phase to go. Alawi hitting the ban table as well as the Tom Kench. Likely going to see the same bans hit. Likely going to be a Yorick from side of IG as we get ready for these last couple of picks coming through.
Yeah, and shout out Risen Esports for rating with the party of 15. Thanks for you guys joining us. Hope you guys had a great banger cast over there. We're currently loading into game 3 for Monkey Champagne against IG. We got the draft going here. I want to touch on this Rakan pick a little bit. It's definitely an interesting pairing with Kaisa. I know a lot of teams do it just because he gets really easy backline access with his ultimate W combo, which means Kaisa can follow up. But lane-wise, it's not the strongest. A lot of the supports just pick Rakan because it counters Braum. There's not a lot of Braum counters in League of Legends unless you're playing a ranged support. So this is one of them. I personally like the Braum matchup into Rakan, just because you don't have to do anything. He can jump on you all you want. You just put up an E, and then what's gonna happen? So it's definitely one of the more skill counter picks for Rakan versus Braum. But I see the potential on both sides. But something that is left up that that hasn't been all series. The Yorick is not banned away. They banned Vex away instead. And then a Nass is banned on the side of Lip Mom. So there's a chance we can see Steel Fan bust out the old Bonkinator known as Yorick.
If we do end up seeing the Yorick, I'm not sure if this is the best possible angle for it, honestly. Just because like you already have the Vayne and Hecarim, and you have the Braum, which is like that three can do like a team fight comp if they want to. But now with the Victor picked up, it feels to me like they want to try to find like a more frontline type champion to round out their comp if they want to do like some kind of a front to back. Otherwise, I'm not 100% sure how their comp functions. We'll have to see what their final pick is. And IG does take the Ahri on the other side as well. So they're just like Ahri Vi, very strong duo, very famous duo, very popular duo at what they do. For them, they're going to be guaranteeing a top side counter pick, as it's going to be the Urgot coming through for the side of Litmon. So it will not be the Yorick. It will instead be the Spider Crab Shotgun Knees man, able to just fight basically anybody in the top lane, always threaten to kill with his ultimate, execute. Very curious to see how IG and how Indigo can come back with some kind of response to this.
I mean, hey, fine by me. I love seeing Steel Fan on his picks, and once again, this Urgot is one of them. The way this man plays this champion, very good.
Oh, throwing the gauntlet. The Quinn, the Quinn Urgot is
that is something.
That is a fun matchup.
That is something.
That is a for fun matchup. That is a guys, we are going to lose. Let's go out having fun pick to me. That is a bold one. That is a brave one. And if it works out, it does give them a lot of momentum going into the next game, because Quinn is a very like feast or famine champion. If she is going to win this game, she needs to feast. She needs to get a significant advantage in this early game. And I'm not 100% sure if Urgot's going to be the champion to give her that.
Yeah, I mean, this is. I mean, what can you ask for? This is plat level spice right here. And R5 Quinn, no frontline on the side of IG. They just said, what do we need in this draft? And they all looked at each other and said, we need more damage. Pick Quinn. And that's what they did. Like, this is, look, I play, when I get autofill top lane, right? I play two champions. I play Malphite or I play Quinn. So I'm either going to go 0-10 or I'm going to go 10-0. And there's no in between when I pick those champions. But I don't. So my question is, I'm not sure how the Urgot E into Quinn E interaction works. I don't know who wins that one and who flips who or bounces back. I don't even know.
I think it depends on who casts it first, or like who hits first. Because I think the way that it works, and I might be completely wrong. I hope we see the interaction so we can know for sure. But I think the way that it works is that Urgot flips. If he does the launch animation as Quinn kicks back, I think it still flips. So I think that Quinn will still get flipped. Okay. But I think if it's timed correctly, maybe she can get out of it. I'm not sure.
Okay, I'm seeing in chat Urgot, he has priority. So Quinn is self counterpicked. Okay, nice.
Okay.
But anyway, let's talk about this draft a little bit more. I love Litmon's draft. I mean, Nightmare got his Victor.
You don't like IG's all 5 go in damage comp? You're not a fan?
We're gonna see grass. I'm ready to see grass part steel Ahri. Nah. I mean, Litmon got like a lot of their champions. I mean, IG. Hey, you got to cook up something in game 3. Your backs are against the wall, and you know why not just try to be like, hey, the only way we're gonna win this game is if we just blow people up constantly and try to win 1v1s wherever we can. I think the idea in the late game is you have Ahri match the Urgot and Quinn go into this Victor, because I don't know if Victor can actually answer a Quinn. I also don't know if Quinn can answer a Fed Victor. I have no idea what's going to happen here.
The one thing that I do know for sure is that if these two teams do end up in a pure 5v5, a lot of Litmon, like a lot of their engage, or excuse me, a lot of IGs engage when they're trying to just like force this down, does get stopped by Braum. So Braum with the ultimate is very, very big here if he can just time it well. And as we've seen so far this series, these melee champions do tend to be pretty damn good for the Litmon support. So I am very excited to see how he pilots this Braum as not a primary engage, but more of a catch and re-engage on our terms type of champion. I think it's very good into what IG have drafted. But if IG, this is 100% a we win the game at 10 minutes or we lose it at 5.
I mean, hey, like somebody said in draft, I mean, they are named IG, really trying to channel Invictus Gaming this one and pull up
Hmm.
some miracles for their team in this draft. But I mean, it's gonna be hard. The barrier of execution, the line of execution is so thin that they are walking on that if they
Hmm.
overstep at one time, it is just game over faster than game two was. But
And that is, go ahead.
it's scary to be in this position, but if they're gonna do it, I guess this is the draft to do it on.
It's a game three. It's an elimination point. They have a tightrope to walk. And if IG are going to make anything happen, they need to channel their Invictus Gaming inspiration here. They need to outhands their opponent to holy hell and back. Will they be able to do it going into game three, begin the reverse sweep, or will Litmon be able to wrap this up 3-0 in a handshake? We'll be back after this quick intermission with how game three plays out.
And welcome back, everybody. We are loading into game 3. We got literal monkey champagne on the blue side. We have Imperial Gaming, Invictus Gaming, IG on the red side. Going to be trying to channel their just whatever they can this game to make this one happen with the draft they have cooked up. We are just full damage all the time. We are
More
Conqueror Vi,
More
Ignite
damage.
Quinn,
More
Electrocute Ari. We're just
More
going all out.
Damage. I'm surprised we didn't see Ignite on the recon at this point. With just how forward this. So are you a fighting game player at all? Do you
Oh yeah. I used to play Mortal Kombat 10 and just combo lock people. It was great.
So you know the idea of like hold forward, you don't ever hold back, you just this is a hold forward draft. This is a we are going in. It will not work, but we will have fun doing it.
Yeah, I mean the only defensive summoners that IG took are Flash. You can debate, but I hope they're flashing forward this whole series. Otherwise, it's heal and it's exhaust.
Brother, this is like the exhaust. I do think is going into legitimate like conversation here. I think the exhaust is pretty correct in the
Oh, that's so smart. It's so smart.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
yes,
very
she
good.
does. Yes, she does true damage, but the slow on Vayne is actually the bigger thing that you have to be worrying about. And Nightmare could. Okay, I thought Ziggy was gonna go in on that. I'm not gonna lie, but Ziggy's gonna look. Ziggy's looking to fight.
What are you doing, brother?
What is happening?
Dude, he's having fun. He's having fun in game 3. Yeah, that is a very aggressive look, for sure. As now he is going to be. I don't even. Can we get a real quick look at what he started here? Because if he started his W, he's in a very bad situation here. Yeah, he did. Okay, so he has his W, meaning that he's going to be very slow on this clear, so he's already a camp down. This Hecarim is going to have like complete and total tempo over him. He's going to be late to do anything on the map. He's going to be late to have any kind of like response to any potential ganks. So this is just a very, very good situation now for the Hecarim in these early levels. Very curious to see if this becomes a huge snowball or if this does manage to even out. As the rest of the map, nothing too exciting yet, but just wait. Things are going to explode when they start exploding.
Yeah, it's gonna be explosive when it happens, like you said. And to sidetrack us a little bit, to answer somebody's question in chat, no, I was not a Jason main. I was a Milena main, and you could literally barrel roll, knock somebody up into a grab, and if they ever try to down block, you telly kick up top, break their block, and then you just go back into barrel roll chain grab shenanigans. It was toxic. It was toxic. I remember I was in high school when that game came out, and my friends were like, hey, we want to play against you. And I said, you don't want to play against me because you don't get to play Mortal Kombat. Anyway, Indigo flashing up in the top lane. It's 99 Canary. Sprints in there as the Hecarim again, looking for that E knockback. But that makes Quinn like beyond gankable now, right? This champion has the negative definition of escape.
And speaking of that repeatedly gankable, that is going to be Hecarim coming again. That is Ziggy able to stop him off, though. That is a flash burn. That is a ghost burn. That is Indigo not able to do too much. No defensive movement summoners here available. Ziggy is barely going to die here. Does end up falling to that last Q swing from the Hecarim. That is a very rough start for his side, though, as Ziggy is now forced to immediately go onto this bot side. Only a longsword to his name. Camry picking up that kill. Very, very big for him. Is going to get the early scuttle before moving down onto his bot side. And now if he should be able to get double scuttle here if he paths for it. I would also be okay with him just doing his bot side clear before doing anything else. But I think that doing just Raptors and then immediately running, instead going to be looking to go onto his Krugs. Okay, so he's going to do his Krugs and then clear up the rest of his camps. That's very smart. I like that. I think that is good. It does keep Ziggy from just immediately jumping in and invading the rest of his jungle.
I mean, also, shout out SteelFan hitting the Q onto Ziggy to be able to get Camry on that one. But Flash is burned by both mid laners. Bark looking for the charm to be able to follow up by Ziggy. Ziggy wasting, I'm not even wasting, just using a lot of time to try to get these ganks off and look for advantages, something Warwick main was not really looking for. And I'd like to see the aggression here. Like, he was punished for it at that, like, I think that level 1 invade was egregious and it cost him a lot. But, yeah, you know, he can still be functioning in this game, and Indigo gonna look to solo kill SteelFan. Really well played there.
That is suddenly a lot of pressure going back towards Indigo, as this wave is still a far ways out. It should be able to match him under the tower, so SteelFan should be able to pick up a lot of that. But now Ziggy, like you're mentioning, he was playing very aggressive. That is something that he is known for. He has not touched
He's
his
bot
side.
lane.
He has not touched his bot side
He's
at all.
level 3. Cameron's level 4.
Yeah, he does not care about farming this game. He just wants to make plays happen. He will do whatever it takes. He is now going to try to jump in here. They're going to be turning onto the Braum, hopefully. No, they're going to continue the poke, continue the trade. Ziggy now has no other choice but to go up and try to clear his bot side. So knowing him, he's going to wrap around for another gank. As the rest of the map, not in terrible starts. It's a 1k gold lead across the map, but honestly, Indigo has done a pretty good job of recovering. He's in a really good spot as a slight, basically even in CS. The wave is in an okay spot for him. It does make him pretty gankable with Camry trying to come up one more time, so Indigo needs to be respectful for that. Unfortunately, is caught a little bit out of sorts as Akram does come in on him. Is able to get out, well positioning with the E, as the bot lane for Litmon slowly getting their wave trimmed out from under them. Chef J and Hunters looking pretty okay here.
Be up at about 10 CS here, too. That's very well played out of them in this early game.
Mm-hmm. Very good situations for them. Go ahead.
Yeah, to touch on what you were saying, I know you love seeing Ziggy be aggressive and looking for these plays, but I think he's on the wrong champion to do it. Vi getting level 6 is as important as Hecarim getting level 6, right? These characters aren't really super online until they have those ultimates, and the longer Ziggy keeps delaying this, the harder it is for him, because Hecarim's going to hit level 6 before he gets level 5 at this rate, because he also takes grubs, and now he's going to invade his opponent's top side. You see Camry on the map on the Raptors there, while Ziggy takes this dragon, and, you know, I get trying to create a tempo, create some momentum, but yeah, it's gonna be rough because Camry's level 6 now, and they can dive top. And hey, look what Indigo taking a note from Steel Fan book and building the souls of this game.
Yeah, I do know one thing I do know about Quinn. That is a standard buy for her. She does prefer buying souls.
I like that or Swifties.
Yeah, one of those two is her standard. Ziggy, like, and the point of him trying to like create tempo, him like overforcing, attempting to make some kind of tempo is kind of having the inverse effect where he's creating like a negative tempo for himself because he hasn't been able to keep up with his levels. He hasn't been able to keep up with his plays. So he's just in a very like poor spot and he's not able to recover super well. So now he needs to be even more aggressive to try to like eventually tip it back in his favor. As right now he is trying to clear the bottom side camp. It does get those raptors, but down 4 whole stacks on jungle item, level 5. Camry's at level 6. Hecarim is officially like online now as he gets his first reset off, and Ziggy still sitting pretty far behind him.
Yeah, I mean, they're doing the split map play right now. We see Ziggy, you know, invading on the bot side because his top side got invaded. But the big thing is Hecarim doesn't stick around for the red buff, so Ziggy going to be able to pick up that XP, which is very big to be getting at this point in the game. But it's, like you said, the negative tempo he's creating is kind of hurting himself because, like, you then don't have the gank threat of, you know, the Vi Ahri, you know, hitting the assault and battery. That's not the name of it anymore because that's mean. But anyway, they're ganking to the top lane. Everything being used on the Indigo, and he's just going to go down here.
Several dashes do come through. That is going to be the Quinn falling down there. That is going to go another kill into the favor of 99 Camry on the Hecarim. The horse will get faster. The horse will get stronger. Ziggy able to get a red buff, but unfortunately does not do anything for Indigo, as now this Quinn that needed to get ahead, this Quinn that needed to get some very strong advantage, not really able to do so.
Yeah, and the big thing to note is Steelfan went with Cole as well. He's just going to scale into this game. He doesn't need to win early. He planned on winning late, and he's winning early and going to be winning late now. Yeah, we don't talk about the Urgot ult. We see a flash out of Ziggy in the top lane, and they're going in onto Steelfan up here.
Indigo and Ziggy both attempting to get something done. That is going to be the passive proc. Indigo trying to get one last auto, will ultimately get it. That's a lot of tower damage coming through, but unfortunately for Camry, he's too far back to be able to get anything. I say that the horse is fast. The horse is fast, but he's not quite fast enough to get there. And now we're chilling.
Yeah, I think if he has the ultimate there, he picks up both of them, funny enough. But really well counter gank or, you know, re-gank there by Ziggy while Steelfan was trying to push out that wave and Camry not there to hover him or help him push that out. Let's Indigo, you know, kind of get back into this game, but Another thing to note is the bot lane slowly just staying a winning lane for IG. They're still up this 10 CS. Nothing getting crossed off here until this, minion wave crashes into turret, and, Barolo gonna do his best to pick up these minions, but kind of hard as Vayne in the early game to be doing that.
Yep, both these AD carries sitting on approximately 2,700 gold worth that they can go to the shop and spend. Supports sitting pretty close to even as well, right around 1,600. The biggest advantage in this game right now looks to be almost entirely in the jungle and top lane, about 900 for the Hecarim, not quite 4 for the Urgot, so both significant leads from the former Gold Hyperion players. So right now Ziggy caught a little bit out of sorts, a little bit too far forward. The Hecarim and the Victor do have the first rotate. Indigo able to bail him out, but they will not be able to bail them out of getting these grubs taken away from them. Camry and Nightmare moving up will secure this. You would have to think it's going to be a big play if Ziggy and Bark are able to get anything to deny the 6 grub stacks. Not sure if it's going to be possible, as now they are trying to make a play here. The charm coming through. Viggy coming up from over the top. Jumps onto Camry, gets the kill, gets the takedown. 2 of these grubs are available for the taking. That's very, very big for this team, as now suddenly they're in a not terrible game state. Charm barely going wide. Steelfan going in. Quinn getting knocked up, knocked back. That is going to be the ultimate coming through. The fear goes onto the Ziggy, onto the Vi. Ziggy trying his best to get back out of here. He has to wait, but he does get stunned up. Shot down by the Urgot. Tries his best getting out the shield, but will not do so. The double kill going over the Urgot. More gold goes into the pockets of the literal monkeys, as even more gold slips away from the side of IG.
Yeah, I mean, it looked so good there to start. Bark getting that pick onto the camera, Ziggy picking up the kill. They get 2 grubs in the end, but, I mean, now Victor and Urgot are going to start scaling earlier than you want them to be. Yes, Noble Bark has the first item completion, but Victor is a champion before he gets an item if he can get enough assists and kills and stack up that passive and get the transform on his abilities. But also, Steelfan getting that ultimate onto Indigo and forcing Noble Bark to have to flash away instead of getting feared and possibly dying there, which is what happened to Ziggy in the end, was really well played by him. I said it in the draft, I said it in the series, when Steelfan is on his picks, he is one of the best top laners in the league, and he's on one of them in this game. He's been on them this series, and he's shown people that he is not here to be taken lightly.
Yeah, definitely a very good look from him, but it's also a very good look from Camry and Nightmare, getting the gank off onto Noble Bark. Noble Bark does not quite have the ultimate, so he will barely be able to get alive.
Oh my god!
Knock him over Hunter XZ. An excellent roll from the Rakan, keeps him alive. Ziggy trying his best, continuing on the chase. The Kai'Sa comes flying in. Camry barely able to get out the roam. Saves his life. Pink Penguin is massive. The support's roaming up, making a lot of action happen here in the bottom side jungle. Kill picked up for the side of IG. Very good look here, as now the Dragon will be their prize as well for that excellent roam from Hunter XZ.
Yeah, this is why we love support players coming up with the big plays when needed. Hunter XZ still holding on to that heal from game 1, though. But, does enough to keep Noble Bark alive. Gets the flash, E, W, ultimate, everything. And then Pink Penguin on the back end, jumping in, telling Camry, get behind me as Braum does, and saves his jungler's life. Man, I love support. It is boring. You say that all you want, but this is when it's fun, when you make impactful plays like that. Oh, Hunter finally popping the heal
plays an charm. Knockup does go wide. That is the flash coming out from Pink Penguin. That is a big summoner burned here, as now Indigo in the top lane has that wave shoving in. This mid wave overloaded here with 3 whole members. Very good look here. Excellent charm. Not quite able to capitalize on it, but still the flash will be their prize. Already roaming down to match the Victor in the bot lane. This game has action. I tell you what.
Hey, man, we said what they need to do is just deal damage and look for whatever fight they want, and they're doing that. Hunter even burning the heal for the movement speed. That is a play I was not expecting to see.
Yes, sir.
But hey, I'll trade a heal for a flash any day of the week, and that's exactly what Hunter did there.
Especially on a champion like Braum or like Rakan, who is very mobile. Meanwhile, speaking of mobility, that is going to be the the dash coming out there. We got to see that interaction play out. Indigo playing it well, though, flashing and then Eing to ensure that he escapes. Both flashes burned here from both of these 2 champions, as Steelfan does get the cold procced off. Indigo chunked very low, continuing to trade aggressively in the face of an Urgot. Does not give a single damn.
I mean, yeah, the big thing is Steelfan burned his ultimate in the top lane already, so there's no execute threat onto Indigo, so he can go for those trades, but still has to be careful about them. But, ends up getting away in the end. Noble Bark on end of a bad trade there from Nightmare. But You know, something I would like to see is Hunter build an early Shurelias in this game. I know a lot of Rakans like going the Zeke's Convergence because you get the slow on your ultimate when you run around the back line, but Rakan's W works on his movement speed, but Ziggy going in for Steel Fan, forget movement speed, it's on Indigo right now.
IW goes as well. It is Indigo trying his best, getting a little bit too much, but the Hecarim ultimate will send them flying away. 99 Camry barely goes down. Great proc from Indigo, does secure it. Sidestep from Ziggy, manages to live, barely avoids getting knocked up. Does get the knockup from the Brahmin ultimate. Indigo trying his best, not able to hit past the Braum shield. Does get stunned up, locked down. Steel Fan picks another kill, double kill one more time. As now Noble Bark is getting ultimated here on by Nightmare. They pick up the kill onto Camry, but at what cost? The cost of 2 for 1 in favor of literal monkeys.
Yeah, I mean, that fight started out so well in the top lane and just went down so quickly. Indigo and Ziggy played it so well. They got the kill on the Camry, but Penguin, the Braum, and the Urgot popped that passive so quickly because of Urgot's W, and you just can't get away from that one. I mean, Steel Fan 4-1-2. He took the early game and just ran with it. Even started Cole, got that cash out, and he is going to be a beast of a champion. Like, a lot of people don't expect Urgot to be this, like, scary hyper carry, kill your whole team champion, but I played against my fair share of Urgots. When this champion is fed, this champion is terrifying to play against because you cannot kill it, and he will kill you faster than you can, you know, do anything about it.
And that is the scary thing about Urgot, is that even if he were behind in this game, he always has that threat. He always has the potential to just kill you because of how much native burst is in his kit, what his itemization is, and the fact that he has that potential execute. So at any point, he can always come back, and that's even scarier when he has a lead. Now building Black Cleaver so he can shred any potential armor that they're going to try to build. He has that Tiamat, so he's going to do even more splash damage come to these team fights later on. He's just looking very, very strong, and IG tried to answer it with the Quinn. They tried to have the marksman versus marksman, range top versus range top matchup. Does not look like it's going in their favor at all, as this Urgot has 100% kill participation and only 1 death to his name. He has completely taken over this game.
Yeah, and I mean, the bigger question is Indigo going Collector as their first item, but never mind, Noble Bark here. Nice buffer by Steel Fan, but the question is if it's going to be enough.
Excellent charm coming out. So much CC, so many guys here. It doesn't matter how big you are on the Urgot when they send 4 men your way to take you down. Unfortunately, that does look like it was an overload, as the the Vayne rather, is going to be chucking down this mid lane tier 1. Victor will take down the bot lane tier 1. That is now 3 towers for none on the map. Urgot's life, #worth. Your team getting so big off the back of your death.
Yeah, I mean, and that's probably also just going to snowball into Dragon here for Little Monkey Champagne. Because when Urgot respawns, he has ultimate. But, I mean, okay, never mind. I was going to say something while both teams were posturing for a fight. I held my breath there.
But the ultimates used on the side of IG here. The only ultimates that they have available are Quinn, okay, who cares, and Rakan, which is a big teamfight ultimate. But with that's your only engage, they are going to have to sacrifice this dragon here. They're not able to continue their soul stacking.
Yeah, Steel Fan TP'd in for it. Nightmare also TP'd back after it, and it just IG not playing wave super well. They didn't push that mid wave as quickly as they could. They have no push in bot lane or top lane, so wave set a badly, but they're gonna get engaged here.
Great Rakan engage coming out that goes on to Steel Fan first. They do have to back out though, as Nightmare is trying to get something. It is going to be Indigo coming in on the deep flank, looking onto Indigo, but he does get turned back immediately. Camry mixing up the back line. Chef J is able to pick up that first kill. No one's fallen yet on the side of IG. Ziggy goes back in, tries to jump onto Steel Fan, tries to get that kill, but does get flipped back. Pink Penguin and Steel Fan together are going to take him down. It is going to be another one falling. The Rakan goes down 2 for 1 so far, as now they will be looking eyes on the Herald, taking that as well, sending Steel Fan to the top lane to continue their push. The rich get richer, and IG begin to crumble, much like their dynasty.
This is the issue with picking Quinn. We saw it there. He tries to get in on the backside. He pops the ultimate, you know, gets one auto onto Vayne and loses half of his health to a Victor QE. And then just doesn't get to play the team fight anymore. They got the bushwhack they were looking for, but the charm follow-up missed on the Steel Fan, which allowed him to actually live in that fight and put out an amazing amount of damage. And I don't think Indigo wins this one against Nightmare, if I'm going to be honest here.
Speaking about incredible damage here, Nightmare's just able to control so much damage, and unless Indigo played it absolutely perfectly, he would not have been able to do anything there. Indigo, unfortunately, just does not have the damage at this point as a 2-4-1 Quinn against the 2-1-2 Victor. outstatted, outdamaged, outplayed. Victor, Nightmare has just been doing so well this series. Like, he's been the unsung member that's just been doing quietly exactly what his job description is. And his job description is just be an absolute rock for his team.
Look, I mean, I'm going to have a tough time picking MVP of the series after this one between Steelfan and Nightmare, if I'm going to be honest with you. But, you know, if people read the content, hate it or not, I mentioned Nightmare is this scaling type of mid laner. He's not going to surprise you with his early game mid lane stats. He's not going to go up 40 CS and crush you in lane. He is going to pick these champions that scale and absolutely carry on them. We saw it with the Talia. We're seeing it with the Victor. Like, this man does exactly what he said. He's a rock and does his job exactly the way you want him to. And we're seeing it again here in Game 3. But they're looking on the Steelfan once again.
Once again, Deja Vu here in the top lane. Over-indexing onto Steelfan. This time he's able to get away. Forces the Vayne ult to come out in there. That will be Vi. He does try his best to fight back, but the Vi ultimate does end up giving them enough to lock him down. The Urgot now, they have to spend so much to kill him, and the cost for that ends up being higher and higher every single time. Right now, this mid lane continuing to be pushed down. It's a 5k gold lead for Champagne Monkeys, as now even the Victor in the side lane, Indigo's able to pick up a little bit of this wave. Indigo might be able to pick up this top lane, but it's not going to matter when Noble Bark in the mid lane is getting chunked down. Brahm's not taking any damage, and they're able to just walk out for free.
Yeah, I mean, this is not how you write it up when you draft this team. Like, you're just losing. You're supposed to have the side lane pressure, but we see Victor in here pushing on the side lane, but Cameron's here to defend him when they try to look for him, and Chef J might just be dead here.
Yep, Chef J just has too much CC going his way. He has too much damage locking it down as well. It's going to be his price to pay for stepping up, trying to defend this tier 2. Champagne Monkeys do not care about your base. They do not care about your standings. The only thing they care about is winning, and the only thing they care about is taking down all these objectives, crumbling whatever stands in front of them. Now, Barolo, even though he's down to level, I have to favor him in the pure 1v1, but it will not be a pure 1v1. Camry's going to send that back in his favor, as now 4v2 in the mid lane. That tier 2 tower is going to fall down. Charm does land onto the Urgot. It will not matter. It will not do much of anything, as another tower will fall. 5 total makes it a 7k gold lead. Champagne Monkeys just looking even stronger in this game 3 than they did in either game 1 and game 2, despite the kill score being much more even.
Yeah, and I mean, big shout out to Camry on that play when they tried to look for Nightmare Bot, just shadowing his side laner while he's pushing and was able to get that turn. And then the rest of Champagne just coming to the aid of Barolo while he tries to take that 1v1 with Indigo. Braum flying in there, gives him the lock and shield, able to get out after taking a turret shot. They get the kill, they get the turret. I mean, the way Champagne is playing this game, yeah, it's a little sloppy kill-wise. They're punishing the side lane really well at the side of IG. But macro-wise, of taking these turrets and having silent pushing in their favor, this is exactly what I was talking about. This is what you want to see cleaned up in this series, and they're doing it here in Game 3. And looking to just, you know, send IG packing. A lot of people didn't expect, you know, Champagne to be able to stack up well. I mean, it didn't happen. Audit Talk, everyone voted IG's going to win this series. I'm the only one who believed in Champagne, and that's for this reason exactly. I think they just outmatched them in all these lanes. And, I mean, I don't know what IG's going to be doing here to get back into this game besides constantly trying to pick off side laners and losing 3 turrets to do so.
So it's the idea that all of their shortcomings, how does the Baus say it? That's a good death. All of their deaths have been good. They've been able to cross-map so well that it doesn't matter if they are dying. This one might matter a little bit as Nightmare does go down and they do continue to gauge onto the Pink Penguin. The Braum does have the shield up, but he does not manage to do too much more other than that. Barolo will go down. The knockup will go back onto the Urgot one more time. Urgot chunked down half health. Urgot not able to get a reset. A triple coming in for the Kaisa. They don't have a wave to continue pushing here, but they do unfortunately get 3 kills. Very, very big look. Very, very big pickup there for IG, as now they are looking onto this Baron that could potentially swing for them. The first bad death of the game for the side of Champagne Monkeys is quite possibly the worst case scenario for them. That's if they needed a slingshot to get back in this game, IG just found it if they can secure this Baron.
So there's a famous quote from a Portuguese soccer coach where they ask him if he wants to comment on the game, and he says, no. If I speak, I'm in big trouble. And that's how I feel right now watching that passage of play just happen for the side of Monkey Champagne. Like, everything is in your momentum, and you just throw it on the ground and say, here you go, IG. We'll give you this one. Good luck. And
it's a great look. It is a great look from that Rakan. Hunter XZ has been very, very good this game. He has been just making all of these hero plays possible to set up whoever on his team is able to follow up after him. And this time, it just so happened to be Chef J picking up 3 kills, currently 6-1-0 on this Kai'Sa, 3 completed items. That is a very, very big Kai'Sa at this stage of the game.
I mean, Chef J, you know, I've been saying this guy is pretty good all season. He's in my top 5 players for his role. I didn't give him the nod on my all-pro team just because I wasn't allowed to pick multiple players from the same team. I'm lying, I didn't pick any IG players. But Chef J would be the one that I would have picked. I mean, this man is the carry of this team. When Azure wasn't there, he was the secondary carry. When Azure was there, I think he plays the carry role exactly how you want from somebody at this level. And they're giving him everything to carry this game with. He is 6-1. He is their chance of winning the series and clawing it back, alongside with Ziggy, who's actually been getting some insane engage looks alongside of Hunter XZ. The two of them comboing up, using their kits perfectly, synergizing together, and Chef J just being that nuisance that a lot of people know Kai'Sa as, kind of being like a mosquito on the side, always weaving in and out with the invisibility, hitting those Qs until they get the big passive proc and just take all of your life away.
Yep, and that's one thing on the Kai'Sa as well was worth noting. He's not doing the full like AP poke Kai'Sa. He has Kraken Slayer, Ginsu's, and then Terminus. So he is going for a more AD, give me the ball, let me carry Kai'Sa build, which Ziggy has been setting up for, as well as Hunter XZ. Currently 1-4-9 on the Vi. He has been there for every single kill that they have gotten on this team. He is making these plays happen, even if he is forcing a little bit much and he is dying for a lot of them. He's now building in a way where he can live just a little bit longer to make just a couple more of these plays happen, which might be enough. It's still a not quite 4K gold deficit. Like, they still need to climb back through a mountain of hell, but now it's a little bit more doable.
Yeah, so you did mention on the build that Chef J is going this game. I am a big fan of this one, right? Mm-hmm. Hecarim is pretty beefy. Braum is beefy. Steel Fan on this Urgot, especially with Sterix, Black Cleaver, Titanic, is a wall to get through, and the on-hit effects and the passive of Kai'Sa is going to help you do that. Another thing I want to note is I did try to mention it earlier. Never mind.
Steel Fan on the flank here, coming out, does get the quick flip onto Hunter XZ, but Hunter XZ does not care. He is able to get out. Their wave will get cold. Ziggy does have to try to back out. He does get hit by the Braum, tagged up one, does get the knockup as well. It's currently 5v4 on the map. Hunter XZ trying his best to turn something, anything. Will it be enough? Yet to be determined. Steel Fan chunked to half. Vi goes in a little bit deeper onto the Nightmare. Will end up knocked up to Feared. Does take him down. Steel Fan is massive here. Camry low. He's so low, but he will be able to get out alive. Chef J gets knocked out. Hunter XZ gets knocked out with him. Indigo not able to contribute to the fight whatsoever, and that is a wipe. 4-for-1. Steel Fan on this Urgot. You mentioned it before. This is one of his picks. This is one of his guys. He is just so good on this champion.
Yeah, and I mean, that whole play, if Ziggy just decided not to clear that ward, it would have been fine for his team, but you know, really good punish by Monkey Champagne to get that one, and we see them recalling here. I think they could take the inhibitor, but it's also a really smart play to not break the inhibitor at this point and give a free gold over to like Noble Bark, Indigo, or Chef J, and let them keep going into this game. But something I did want to know is Hunter XZ, I want him to build a Shurelius, because the way movement speed interacts with the Rakan W, the more movement speed you have, the faster the W animation is. So a lot of Rakans, when they don't have flash, will look to pop the quickness and then Shurelius and then insta W in and immediately get a knockup that is so hard to respond to with the flash. It is just, I think that item works so well with Rakan's kit, and a lot of Rakans don't build it. I'm a huge fan of it, and I'm hoping we see him go towards it. But IG looking to try to posture for this dragon. It's 2-2 to each team. I don't think they have to die over it. I think they can just give, which they're going to. They have mid lane push, possibly trade a tower for this one, but I think Monkey Champagne is not going to let them do that so easily.
It's another Cloud Dragon going over to the side of Monkey Champagne here. It is another tick towards them getting Cloud Soul, which is also very good for their team, let it be known.
Yeah, that is terrifying with a Hecarim.
And what they haven't been able to accomplish at all is any form of siege. Like, they had Baron for the entire length of the duration, and they didn't crack mid-tower. They got outer tier 1s on both side lanes, but unfortunately for them, they weren't able to do anything with the mid lane. So they don't have the pressure on the map that you would expect, and Indigo needs to use everything in his kit to try to get away. It will not matter. Camry will run him down. The Hecarim gets even fatter, 4, 4, and 7 on that pick. Indigo goes down, and now they're trying to get anything on a cross map, trying to look at anything, but they're being scouted, they're being spotted, and they're just not in a situation to find anything. IG are just getting run around the map, plain and simple.
Yeah, I mean, they're always trying to do this 5 players group up and look for it, or 4 players group up and look for a pick, and that could, you know, not always be the answer. Sometimes you just have to play for the side lane push, and Pink Penguin looking to go in here, gets a one-man ultimate on the Chef J.
Pink Penguin is looking. Hunter XZ does his best to try to stop the play, or at the very least sacrifice himself. The Rakan jump in to save the life of his Kaisa. That might be enough, though, for the side of Champagne Monkeys to turn onto the Baron. Hecarim is in, Braum is in, Urgot's buying space. Ziggy,
yeah, it's going to be Baron.
Yeah, Ziggy's just not able to do anything. It would have to be an absolute godsend miracle to accomplish it. But right now he's spotted, he's blocked, he's bought off, he can't get it. This is going to be the Baron going to Champagne Monkeys. This is going to be huge for them, as Indigo can't accomplish anything either. Easy smite, easy pickup. Mid wave is already shoving, bot wave is going in as well.
Yeah,
it's just another nail in their coffin.
Yes, Hunter saved Chef J there, but it's just another bad macro play by IG, just staying on the map for too long with Baron spawning. And yes, they're trying to play this Deathball comp, but Monkey Champagne Deathball is much better than theirs is. They have frontline, they have beef, and Noble Bark could be in danger to hear Camry sprinting at him, but, you know, they're going to back away, and they're going to rotate into this bot lane and try to just start breaking all the inhibitor turrets in the base of IG, but Steelfan getting engaged on.
Steelfan does get engaged on. It is the Rakan going first. He is low. He is down to a 3rd HP. Finally gets knocked down. Hunter XZ trying his best for a miracle engage. Nightmare pops the zone as the Hourglass gets him down. That is going to be Hecarim going down as well. Nightmare gets taken down. Finally, double kill going over to Indigo. Triple kill going over to Indigo. Hunter XZ trying to go even further onto the Pink Panther. Indigo now looking for him one more time. Pink Penguin getting knocked out, getting stunned. Barely. Indigo firing this Quinn coming alive when it matters the most.
What
Pink Penguin be able to get out
this game? This
they
is
needed
crazy.
more damage. Indigo trying his best to provide that more damage onto this Braum. Wraps around far away going for it. Ends up spotting him, ends up tagging him, gets tagged himself, not able to go too much deeper under the tower, but that is finally, at long last, if they're able to get it, the mid lane tier 1 going down for the side of IG. After so long, after 32 minutes, the most important tower in the game finally collapses.
Both teams that have taken Baron have been basically fully wiped of Baron like a minute after they took it. Like, this is just... I have no words. It's just like, you think a team has a lead, and then they make one mistake, and it just swings it back into the momentum. And it's been twice now by Monkey Champagne, with Nightmare getting caught in the mid lane before the Baron for IG, then IG with the Baron overextending on the map, getting caught out again. And then now again, with another Baron, Steelfan overextends in mid, the rest of the team tries to save him, and they all get punished for it, because Burrow was in base. I thought he was AFK for a second. I saw him standing there for so long.
I think that it's just, the purple worm is just bait. It's like when a BOL sees a red flag. When plat teams see a Baron, they just charge, and it doesn't matter like what kind of mind game you're doing. The BOL is going to charge, the plat team is going to charge, and they picked 5 damage dealers. That's a lot of damage.
No.
So
they picked 4 and Rakan. They have a Rakan. They have 4 damage dealers.
I think Rakan's been doing more damage than Vi this entire game, if I'm going to be completely honest.
I mean, possibly. It depends on how many Qs he hit this game, but Pink Penguin gets charmed here. It's not really going to come to anything. Hunter XZ got a big chunk, big Steelfan, and this is Soul Point. This is terrifying to give over to a Vayne, Hecarim, Urgot. That is 4 Cloud Souls and a Dragon Soul. The second one of these guys pops ult, I think your team is just dead because they're going to run at Mach 90 at you.
Yeah, it's so terrifying if you are on the side of IG here. Just, they're already poking you down. You already can't survive their regular engage, their regular damage. And now when they're able to just like run past any kind of defense you are able to mount, like this feels like something that they need to fight, but they're just not able to fight it. Steelfan forcing the issue though. Ziggy able to get alive. Steelfan ends up falling for his troubles. Ziggy ends up getting sent back into the back lane. He doesn't end up falling. Doesn't quite get the execute, but that is the Dragon Soul coming down. 1 kill will be the price for it. Noble Bark is able to land the charm, but unfortunately not able to get more past that. as now both these teams is going to be a reset coming through for the side of Champagne Monkey. It is going to be a gentle mid lane shove coming in from the side of IG. Ziggy, thankful for his life, but unfortunately will not be able to pay it forward and take a tower, as we see a TP come in from Nightmare. Comes in the mid lane, 4 strong. We have a good old NA ram as Indigo is coming as fast as he can, staying out of vision for now, so they have to respect his position. But that is Cloud Soul on an Urgot, Hecarim, Victor, Vayne, and Braum.
Look, I'm going to say this. I know Monkey Champagne has the gold lead. I know they have the Cloud Soul. I know they have 7 turrets. I know they have 4 Void Grubs. IG can still win this game. They like we said, they needed more damage. They just drafted pure damage. Like, they can burst anybody, and if they do it, they still have a way to win this game. It is not yet won for Monkey Champagne. You know, a few more oversteps, a few more misplays, and like, this could be a backbreaking series, a game to lose in a series like this when you have such a lead. But like, oh my god, Urgot movement speed is crazy with 4 Clouds Dragons.
They need to play this game perfectly if IG want to have a chance of coming back and want to have a chance of kickstarting this reverse sweep. And to their credit, when they've been trying to find these plays, they have been doing pretty okay. They have like all these different engaged divers that are able to jump in on top of each other. With the Vi and the Rakan especially, they've been laying their CC really, really well this game. Kaisa's Chef J has been able to jump in and layer his damage on very, very well. But right now, Noble Bark is kind of by himself. Spends the flash, spends the last charge of his ultimate, is able to get out against the Hecarim. Incredible stuff from him coming out there.
Yeah, definitely. Something I want to note here is Nightmare. He doesn't really like to build death cap. And I think that it can be a problem sometimes, right? He was ahead. He had a lot of damage built up, but now it kind of feels like at some points he's just lacking in. Oh my god, Indigo is just.
Indigo is lacking in time alive right now, as he does end up getting caught in a very bad 1v1 against Steel Fan. The Urgot is just too large, as now this Baron getting started on the other side of the map, already down to half health. Already being blocked off by Nightmare. Unfortunately, for the side of IG, they're not able to approach the pit as Steel Fan, Nightmare, and even Pink Penguin are knocking them out. Chef J does not do anything here. Hunter XZ not able to do anything. The ult not able to turn. Camry able to jump on him with the ultimate and with the Cloud Soul, jump even faster. Hunter XZ goes down. Vi goes down on the backside. Ziggy left alone, called in just to die here. The substitute will not matter. The 0-3 is inevitable. The Champagne Monkeys getting ready to pop a bottle of their namesake, getting ready to move on in this playoffs bracket, getting ready to move on even further. Ziggy would have to try to mount a miracle defense that simply will not happen. It is a 3-0. Pop the bottles, get the celebration ready. Champagne Monkeys move on in the BOL Platinum playoffs.
I mean, look, man, there's a reason why they pay me to write the content around here. I said Monkey Champagne is going to win this series. Did I say 3-1? I may have said 3-1. Wasn't expecting a clean 3-0. I thought there was going to be a game that, you know, they make a little bit of a mistake. But in the end, they did exactly what I thought they were going to do. They, pound for pound, were better than this IG team, and they showed it here and played exactly the way that they wanted to in all 3 games. And it just, you know, it feels bad that, you know, in the last few weeks of the season that your mid laner chooses to go on vacation or life happens. It sucks. At the end of the day, we're all humans. We're just here playing a game to have a good time, and it sucks that it happens right around playoffs, and you have to play with the role swap and a whole different roster. It can be hard sometimes, but, like, you know, IG, they tried their best. They drafted such a fun comp to watch in that last game, but it just was not able to get them over the finish line.
IG absolutely went out swinging. They absolutely did not lay down and say die. They gave it everything that they had. Ultimately, it wasn't enough. Ultimately, the Champagne Monkeys were just the better team on the day. They were able to manage the 3-0. They were able to manage the victory. And honestly, it's really hard to pick a player of the series for this one. Like, all these players have had their moments of looking very, very good and being very important to their wins. You could just as easily argue Steel Fan. You could just as easily argue Nightmare. I kind of want to argue for Pink Penguin just a little bit. I think that he has, like, I think he looked pretty damn good personally. I think that his Braum was very impactful. Like, single-handedly saving the Urgot from that early on play was very nice. But Steel Fan just created so much pressure that I think it's hard to not give it to him, especially on this Urgot and especially in the past 2 games. He was just so strong on many different styles, like between the Shen, between the Urgot. He just looks very comfortable at handling everything Indigo tried to throw at him.
Look, I love Nightmare. I love Steelfan. He's a great guy. He's a lot of fun to play with, a lot of fun to talk to, but the MVP of the series is Nightmare. This man was a rock. I think he topped the damage charts in game 1, game 3. I'm not even sure who topped it in game 2, but this man did everything you wanted out of a mid laner. And, you know, I want to make a came up and showed business joke, but this isn't monkey business. This is monkey champagne. But I gotta give it to Nightmare in this mid lane, man. This guy, even with the constant ganks that were coming in game 3 and game 2, he did everything that you want from a mid laner, surviving those ganks, making the cross map plays. So I'm gonna give my nod to Nightmare here.
Definitely a respectable shout out there. Definitely a respectable win. Definitely looking forward to seeing what this team can continue to do in Platinum playoffs. As now, that is it for us. Do we have any more updates for around the league, or
Yeah,
are we...
I'm checking right now. Hold
So this
on. We got
series is wrapping up as we are
All
looking
right.
at what's happening on.
We got an
Take it away.
update. All right. Misery Obsidian Vice 3-0 sweep over Hydro Great White. Exactly what I predicted and exactly what I said. Right now, I believe I mentioned this in our chat that we should be rating Conduit after this one because they're looking to pull off a reverse sweep of their own and are doing pretty good so far
Ooh.
in this game 3 that they got against the other Monkeys team of Monkey Business.
Exciting,
So that is
exciting.
another banger series to watch. And, Subatomic Gaming Proton is also going to be looking to pull off their own reverse sweep. They have a kill lead in their game right now, but it still could go either way. And I'm saying this as I'm watching a team fight break out, and I would cast it for you guys, but nobody else can see what's happening. So, yeah, a lot of fun happening around the league right now.
BOL Platinum definitely delivering as always in the playoffs. So keep up with those as we are getting further and further in playoffs. Keep up with those matches. We'll get ready to head over to Conduit. Thank you guys very much for being here for this match tonight. I've been the Dino, and this has been my lovely co-commentator here, the guy who writes the content, Mr. Chong himself. I hope I pronounced that right. I apologize if I didn't.
You're good. You're good.
And thank you all very much for being here. We will see y'all in the next one, and we'll see you over at Conduit.